Welcome everybody to another episode of the Centre Circle podcast. Episode 32 now.
Maybe 33.
Maybe 33? 33? Sure. Oh, it might be 33 actually. We'll check.
Yeah.
Check.
33.
Yeah, 33, bro.
33. Look at that. Catching up to certain people's ages. Anyway, got John here.
Hi, Zach.
Man like heat.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Yeah? Yeah,
Can't
look at you.
complain.
Bruv, don't smile like that, man. You Liverpool fans are getting on my nerves.
You
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Can't
Yeah?
complain.
Man's relaxed, man. Came here in beach mode and that. You get me?
Last season was turmoil, so,
Put
When you don't have to worry about football, life is great.
So one less thing to worry about the
I
weekend,
know,
innit?
right? I mean,
Well,
United fans, certain United fans, I swear to you, I was thinking about this yesterday. One on my Insta. I'm not going to bait him up. But, outside games, doing fan zone talks, a whole 9 yards. I swear to you, I've not seen a post from him in so long. Nothing.
some just disappear, innit? Like, we're in a group with some Man United fans and
This vanish.
Yeah.
Vanish.
forget
Crazy,
they're in
man.
the
It's
group.
crazy how that
sometimes.
works, isn't it?
Yeah, bruv. It's convenient. Maybe there's no notifications for that group. when
Fair
Man
weather
United losing.
fans, man.
Yeah.
That's what they are to me.
I mean,
Stand 10 toes, brother, in the bad or the
Exactly.
good.
This is it.
and it's so funny. I remember points of last season, people would be like, so how's it feel? Da da da. And I'm like, I'll be honest, I don't know. It's been so long, I can't remember. I don't know whether I'm to just, say it is what it is, or should I expect more from the team? I don't know. It's been a long time of just making top four. Last few years before that, we weren't even making top four. So you know what? I don't know. I'm
Just-
taking it week to
yeah.
week, and I either like Arteta that week, or I want him out that week,
Yeah.
innit?
Just enjoy the roller
It's just
coaster,
whatever
innit?
it is. Whatever it is. But yeah, we got it was a good week. I say this every week, but this is why the Prem is the Prem. We're gonna be talking about Brentford Chelsea versus Brentford today. The Emery machine marching on. Aston Villa versus Luton. Of course, Liverpool versus Forest. Have a bit of update on the Salah agenda as well. The Manchester derby. Sorry, man, United fans. Sorry. You know that meme with the guy with the bow tie? He says, Manchester United.
And then just starts laughing.
Starts laughing.
Claps the paper
brilliant.
together.
Yeah.
And starts
Bruv.
laughing.
You know what? The first time I saw that, because of the quality of the film and stuff, I thought it was old. I thought it was
Bruv.
like 1990s or something. That's a current broadcast.
Very, very, very
It's the best,
current.
bruv. It's the best. Another Everton win. Isaac, we're coming to you for that one. They beat West Ham away. Good win. And yeah, Arsenal dealt with Sheffield Wednesday. So we'll cover that, touch on the remaining matches, and then we've got some interesting agenda points. We'll get into the debate about Suarez and Henry. Don't even know that was a debate to be had, but the internet these days, people just say stuff.
Yeah.
We've got to do our duty to the people and bring it to their
Yeah,
attention.
Bring you the content.
Yep. And we got Gundogan demanding a more angry reaction from his Classico teammates. Interesting. We'll have a debate on that. And a couple more points. So let's start with Brentford, with Chelsea versus Brentford. 2-0, 0-2. Brentford beat them. Couple of goals. You see football, yeah? Because after they held us up the week before, everyone was chatting. I thought, okay, is this the point where... Because the narrative's been the underlying numbers. Not here, we don't use that kind of terminology. But it's just the fact that they're not scoring goals. They're not doing certain things, etc., etc. And then you're at home the week after. And then you get beaten, well beaten, because I don't think the scoreline reflects entirely the kind of the swing of that game. Is this just it for Chelsea this season? Couple of okay performances and just take their points where they can? Or is this just a blip and the general trend that everyone's been talking about is going to continue?
I don't think it's a blip. I think this is Chelsea. I think they've got too many players. A manager that doesn't... From what I can see, I don't think he's identified or implemented his strategy, his philosophy within this team, right?
So what was that against Arsenal then? Because everyone was saying, okay, we can see how they want to play. We can see how they were without the ball. They're very compact. Because what I'm trying to find is the balance, right? You can have a game like that against a team that the league says is, well ahead of you in terms of where they're playing at the moment. And you do lots of things really well. If the team's done that well, that's got to be down to them executing what the manager's told them, right?
What happens when a big dog turns up?
Yeah, but you don't play big dogs every week. You play everyone in the league.
Exactly.
So that's
Chelsea,
my point.
and Chelsea's regular form has been more akin to their loss at Brentford.
Okay, fair.
And a lot of people have said that it wasn't really Chelsea playing well last week. It was Arsenal weren't up to the level.
Because look what happens when they turned up.
Yeah, so
I think it was both.
They turned the heat up in the end and pulled the 2 goals.
Yeah,
and Arsenal
real
could
Chelsea
have won the game in the end.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest.
Well, one goalkeeper error. That's not a team thing, right?
Yeah.
And I would say watching that game, Chelsea played well and contributed to Arsenal's poor performance. But yeah, Arsenal did start winning the ball slowly. But them playing well and being set up well without the ball, etc., it did contribute to that.
But let's be honest, when the big dogs turn up at your levels race, I mean, against any of the big teams, it's not.
They played well against us first game
exactly.
of the season, didn't they?
Exactly.
Could have actually nicked it.
So I personally feel like it's a case of, look, Arsenal were in town. They tried to G themselves up. They were 2-0 up, and then Arteta said, and Arsenal just said, whoa, hold on, what's going on? And you lot played yourselves back into the game. Brentford's turned up and Chelsea have fallen apart. You've got Cole Palmer telling Nicholas Jackson, brother, run into the channel. Run into the channel. And then when he did, what happened? The through ball came and it was over here, which was unfair on him, right? Cool. The rest of the game, it was... I couldn't believe what I was watching, man. Madueke, I'm so disappointed that he hasn't found his feet yet because I thought he looked the part. Okay, granted, it's the Eredivisie, but...
Yeah, but even coming back off the under-21s tournament, he had a good tournament.
He had a good tournament.
Well, he looked like he was playing well. Then he got that injury, didn't he? Then he was out for some time.
Oh, yeah,
he's just coming back.
Yeah, he's coming back.
And this is the thing.
I mean, against Arsenal as well, Jackson didn't play. It was Mudryk, Sterling, and Palmer, right? So maybe a more cohesive front three.
Yeah.
Right? The midfield, I think Fernandes didn't play this against Brentford, did he? That was Casido's first game without Fernandes. So maybe, again, that also played a part. I just think there's too many... The Chelsea team, you can see, it's by far, it's not set. It's not settled.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, isn't it?
It's going to be like this.
I think bar Enzo, Sterling, I don't think many of those players are brought with a kind of a set position in mind. Because Palmer, they say Palmer was in the front three last week.
Yeah.
He was in the middle three. I thought he had a good game on Saturday.
I think he did as well.
But yeah, it's a work in progress, isn't it?
Well,
and to Isaac's point, I think they're going to be up and down all season. Like, you can see signs where they kind of look good. Granted, they haven't been against the bigger teams. It's been against Luton, first half against Arsenal, etc. So where you can see the signs, but
whenever I've seen a good Chelsea performance, the next week the team's not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at some of the stats, right? And this is where people get onto the stats with them. 17 shots, 2 on target. Brentford have 7 shots, 5 on target. Possession, 69% possession. Brentford have 31%. So it's they have most of the ball. Their pass accuracy was higher, but these stats don't talk about penetration. They don't talk about
it. Thomas Frank knows you're going to go Stamford Bridge, not have much of the ball, but when they have the ball, it's how they use it, and they're going to use it.
Going to counter attack,
and they're going to be useful.
Yeah, they're going to use
where Chelsea had a lot of the ball, but you don't really see
sideways. It was a lot of it was sideways.
What they're doing, like you say, Palmer was trying to dictate a lot of their play.
Yeah.
Like Sterling was hardly in the game at all. I think this is the first game that Enzo's missed since he signed for the club. Right, they've had no Europe, whatever. So in terms of fitness-wise, that's pretty easy to do. But you can see they missed him in the middle of the park. Caicedo, I know the price tag has nothing to do with him.
Yep.
But for that money, and then you look across London, you see what Rice is doing for the equivalent. You're like, well,
They got fleeced.
what have I paid that money
early
for?
doors, but remember I did say.
Yeah.
Remember I did say it's a lot of money
They got
for
fleeced.
someone that's basically played 1.5 seasons in the Premier, whatever it was, right?
Yeah, and this is the point I was going to come on to as well. Jackson only played 14 league games, I think it was Villarreal last year. Mudryk was only a handful of games in Ukraine before he came. So they're banking a lot of their kind of efforts on players who don't have a lot of first team experience
The only counter
at a high level.
The only counter I'd say to that is a lot of the players they bought from France. I remember that specific narrative at the time is they're young, but they had a lot of experience. A lot of them had 50, 100 league games under their belt, etc. So I take that point on those two particular players. I do remember the narrative, especially a couple of the guys they bought from France. They were looking for young players. To your point, who might not have top 5 league experience, even though France is probably the 5th of the top 5 leagues by default.
I mean, I think for Chelsea, my summary, what's the word?
Summary?
No.
Summarization?
Yeah, I'll go with that. There's another word, but I was trying to be fancy. It didn't work. Clearly.
At least you're honest. At least you're honest, bro.
My view on it is this. They've got essentially Pochettino starting from scratch. Right?
Yeah.
He's trying to bring in an identity or a philosophy or a way of playing ball, but he's also got a load of players that he did not purchase, right? So if I've got an idea or a philosophy, pretty much akin to what Ten Hag has said, right? Which has caused a lot of uproar. If I've got an idea or a philosophy, but I don't necessarily, in my view, have the players to execute that, I've now got to start from scratch and find the way to make these players.
But apparently, this summer, even though he couldn't officially start at a certain date because of his gardening leave or something to do with Spurs or PSG or whatever it was, he was involved. He had a consultancy
He had
approach,
some sort of
allegedly.
Right.
So people weren't signed without him knowing and understanding the rationale, or even saying, actually, nah, not him.
Which is fine, but they've still got all the players that they signed before in the windows before, which is still quite a lot.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's a whole new team where I'm coming in and I'm trying to, put my foot or put my stamp on it, and it's just, it's not working.
Yeah. I think they're just not. I think they're not clinical enough as well.
No.
I think you look at, even early on in this game, there's a few chances that go awry. I can't remember what someone hit the post. Sterling blazes one over. Their sort of lack of accuracy in front of goal is definitely a thing, and it's cost them over the season. And we talked about Jackson many times. He's busy, but he's not dangerous. So that's not what they expected from him. Of course, Nkunku's a major goal threat. You miss him early
both
on.
Knees now. Was it both knees now? Was it the same knee?
Nah, I think it might be the
It
other
was a
I'm not
knee
too
and
sure.
something else.
Yeah.
But
So
even
when he
when he comes back, he's not off
Well,
of
he's
two
not- he's not a
serious
striker.
injuries.
Yeah.
and he's not a striker.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I think the Chelsea roller coaster goes on.
Yeah, big up Brentford though.
But Brentford,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
what were we saying about Mope giving up that opportunity? He
To
hasn't
be
scored in
fair,
how many games?
I'm not
I
speaking
can't
on
believe
him again.
Sanchez caught up with him.
Oh, the
For what?
pace.
I was like, right. But
Listen, if you did that at home, you'd catch up with him too. Yeah, the pressure and the adrenaline put some extra pep in his
No,
step.
but he didn't look like he was shifting at all.
Yeah, no.
yeah, I think he hasn't scored in what, like
13 months apparently.
forever. So I think
13 months.
if he had like maybe 5 more yards, he might have gone on his own.
I don't know why he
But I
didn't just shoot.
Yeah,
No, but I think he wanted to get closer in it. I don't think like he's confident enough.
It's like as soon as Sanchez fell over, he felt that it's past it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, shoot.
I think he thought a tackle was coming or stuff like that. But I'm sure Mbeumo would have been telling him, yeah, you're good. Like, you're good. Like,
Yeah. I thought he might have passed it back to him, but
Nah, never.
no way. You never,
the game was over.
you never had a goal
Never.
bonus. Look at this guy. Look at
Never.
this guy.
defending.
Listen, Brentford on the
but,
whole, though, they look as good as they usually do.
Well, I was gonna say because their record before winning, so they've won 2 in a row now, but before that they hadn't won in 8 games. So there was a little bit of a stagnation there. But we get over Brentford every season. They go for a patch. They haven't got the deepest of squads. They got some big players out. So yeah, 2 good wins in a row. Banking the points.
Is this Is this them saying we can do it without Tony and we're prepared for when Tony leaves? Or is this just a holdover until he comes and he's just going to slot back in and Wissa or Mbuemo are going to have to hold the bench? One of them's going to be honest,
it's weird. I don't really think they missed him. Like, they're 10th in the league. Like, that's kind of where you expect Brentford to be, innit? Like, they're coping well without him, considering how long he's been out. I think they're coping well without him. Obviously, when he comes back in, it will offer them another dynamic. They might even kick on a bit more. You never know. Exactly. But I think if he comes back into the team and they're still 10th, I think that's a very good standing for them.
It's a very good standard. And if he doesn't try to push a January move or he hangs around, then it's hopefully the trajectory is upwards. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Well, and they if you think about Brentford's approach to everything, right? It's all sort of analytics and database. So they're definitely not a team that would have got themselves in a position, anyway, from a recruitment and play point of view, where taking someone out like Tony would be just absolutely catastrophe for your
Yeah, they probably got someone lined up. If he was going to go, they would probably know who they're going to they're going to get in.
And even there's probably someone in the data department there that is saying, I knew Mbeumo could do this. That's why we bought him. We had all the stats. We had all his kind of, we know what his ceiling is, etc. Same with Wissa as well, you know. It's just that, you know, Tony was doing his job and doing it really well. I think next summer we'll see
Chelsea.
We'll see how which clubs test their resolve. I mean, they're gonna want.
I mean, if
they're
Chelsea
gonna want
don't
80
go for
million.
him,
They're gonna want 80 plus, right?
I think he's worth it.
Yeah.
Well, respect for Chelsea, yes.
Yeah. I think we should take. I would love Arsenal to go for it.
Chelsea or Arsenal would be the obvious choice.
Yeah.
I would love Arsenal to go for it. And find a way that, you know, all that running around that Jesus does actually benefits.
I don't think Tony's going to
Tony
do that.
or someone.
Yeah.
You know? No, as in he plays and that benefits Tony.
So he can be the water carrier for Tony.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, and the Kai Havertz experiment can just die. That's the way I was looking at it. But you never know with Arteta, man. He's probably got some funky formation drawn on his whiteboard, thinking he's Einstein. Anyway, moving on. Aston Villa, Luton. I mean, it's easy to say, like, you know, the Emery machine moves on, blah, blah, blah. It's only Luton, but a win's a win. Luton are not getting turned over as early in games as they were before. I'm now looking at matches and after 30 minutes, it's still 0-0, you know?
We might have to swap them and Sheffield United around in terms of
I was thinking that as well, you know. I was thinking that as well.
Not we.
Okay,
Isaac.
We.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Mainly
that.
Isaac.
This guy has been kicking Luton, yeah, since August. So not we, him. But yeah, another good win for
expected in
Luton.
it. Like,
I mean, for Villa. Did you see their first goal?
Yeah.
The set piece.
Yeah.
Listen, there's no respect for Luton, you know. He's better doing training ground, you know, NFL style plays.
But it's good
I
though,
don't rate it because they're not doing that anywhere else.
They're not doing that to anyone.
But you do catch teams off guard every now and again.
True, but that particular one, they didn't even float. They basically passed it on the ground from the corner flag to the other side of the box.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy. But yeah, Tom McGinn, Diaby, and then on goal. Yeah, that on goal was mean.
Unfortunately. To go to Diaby, I thought Diaby might have had more goal returns so far, just in terms of kind of the player profile that he is. Like he's quite tricky, and he's quite attacking in it. Like where you've got
3-3 in the league.
Yeah. Diaby? Oh,
he scored 2 on. No,
I thought he only had like 3 goals this season.
No way. That's not what he's been doing in my fantasy team. Whoa, yeah. Actually, no, he's got 3 goals this season.
Yeah.
3 goals, 3 assists.
Yeah, that's okay. That's not bad to be fair.
So goal involvement season 7, Yeah, I think he's done what we expected him to do so early.
Yeah.
There's been none of that settling in the Premier League business. Nope. He's
just come in and you can play in it. Like
he's come in, he's done his job.
Yeah.
He's done that's it. And this is really bad. It's a really bad indictment on Steven Gerrard, man.
Yeah.
I know this shit has got nothing to do with it, but it kind of
No, it
has.
has, man.
Yeah.
It
I
has.
mean,
Because a lot of the same players is exactly what Emery's doing with.
he's
that's it.
brought in probably 4, maybe
Yeah.
5 new players.
Yeah, small tweaks, innit?
He actually brought Mings back into the squad. I know Gerrard did that at a point, but he kind of dropped him as well. It's small
Watkins,
tweaks.
Again.
He's got Cash looking like a world-class right back.
Yeah.
Matty Cash. I mean, McGinn's on fire.
Watkins
is back in form.
Apart from when I
come
put
on,
him in my
man.
fantasy
This is
Bruv. And he had a couple of chances this game that made me have the opinion of him that I used to have, but then he would just go and score a hat-trick next week or some rubbish. So let me not even go there.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know we touched on this, I think, in the last part of the pod before, where we, in terms of Emery himself, but I think there's a conversation to be had. Maybe not right now, but in terms of like all these players that are just given jobs, or all right, people say Gerrard wasn't given. He won the league and was unbeaten with Rangers, but I mean,
Rangers.
That's Rangers. Do you know what I mean?
No, but to be fair,
that's
he
probably
did
akin to
stop the
league.
Celtic dominance, so I kind of give him a bit of leeway.
It's kind of akin to League, what, 1?
I'd say lower championship.
Lower championship.
What's that?
Yeah.
Scotland?
Yeah,
Equivalent.
lower championship, top of League One, innit?
Yeah, I would sit up in League One.
Yeah. Well, you said League One first.
No, relax. I think bottom half championship, I would argue.
No, because championships have got a good team. If you look at the teams in the championships, they will
so
give a lot of teams running.
I think Celtic.
Because remember,
Celtic will finish top half championship. Celtic or Rangers would finish top half championship. Like the Scottish champions would finish top half championship, I reckon.
Yeah, but the rest of the SPL, trash.
Yeah.
The drop off from first and
those two.
second is crazy. I don't think there's a league where there's that kind of drop
Yeah,
off.
it's mad. Like Aberdeen,
Spain.
were they the last team to win the SPL other than Rangers or Celtic?
When was that?
Yeah.
Though?
Or was it no Hearts?
Was it Hearts?
I'm pretty sure it was Hearts. I
don't
remember the parade. I remember a parade. And there was a
Not,
big...
it's not in the
I'm pretty
last
sure it was
15 years or 20 years, I'll tell you that.
But at least Gerrard's one, there was small evidence to maybe think, okay,
Yeah, they play good football.
he's Gerrard, but he's gone and done something, right? He started off I think he was doing a bit of the Liverpool youth thing.
Yeah.
And he went there, didn't he? Wasn't it an invincible season? Didn't he?
Yeah,
He was
won
unbeaten. He wrestled back the title back from Celtic after.
Stop them getting 10 in a row.
Yeah, all of that.
And to be fair to him, since he's left, Gio's got sacked.
Yep.
Just sacked the other guy as well.
Yeah.
The guy that got from QPR.
Yeah, so-
Clement's gone in there now.
Yeah, so cool, fair enough.
Yeah.
If it was that easy, everyone else would
Yeah.
have come in behind. But that being said, a lot of those players that were in that squad have gone. Bassi,
Yeah.
Aribo, I think Kamara's gone. Morales.
What's the name of that striker that kept getting sent off every
Morales.
Morales,
okay.
yeah. Kent's gone.
Kent's gone.
Yeah.
So a lot of their key players are not there anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So, there's a lot of things that have contributed to some of this fall off. But I mean, not to digress, I think it's quite bad on Stevie G, man.
Yeah, no.
But Emery's shown his quality. Like a stat I saw was for managers who have managed 35 games or more, he averages 2 points a game. And the only managers that have that same average have all won the league. So it's Klopp, Pep, Pellegrini, Sir Alex Ferguson, and Mourinho twice at Chelsea. So his stats at Aston Villa.
No Wenger.
Huh?
No Wenger.
No Wenger.
Wow.
Doesn't matter. He still won the Prem.
He still won the Prem, yeah. But yeah, like he's showing he's got a bit of a formula. And if you look at the league table from first to sixth, because they're fifth now.
Yep, fifth. Yeah,
There's a gap forming between them and Newcastle, so there's a 5-point gap. So they're keeping up with the big boys.
Yeah.
I imagine they will.
It is interesting. Yeah, 5-point gap. I mean, this is where that run Newcastle went on is hurting them now because in the last 5 games, they got near identical records. Newcastle have drawn one more game than them. So in the last 5 games, Newcastle have only got 2 points less.
And look what happened first game of the season.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. You never know. So yeah, they march on. I mean, Luton, after all our chat, I mean they're 18th. They're 1 point behind Bournemouth. Yeah, this is not as clear cut as maybe we thought. Luton could do a great escape. And I think those four...
That'll only be because of Everton.
No, Everton aren't anywhere near... Hold on. No, Everton aren't
I think
anywhere near.
I think we're going to have to swap Everton with Bournemouth.
You know why? You know why I said that though, innit?
Why?
Because of the 12-point deduction that's possibly heading their
I
way.
don't think that's going to come.
No, I don't think it's
Possibly.
Yeah,
That's why I said
possibly.
Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, if that happens, then they're in big trouble.
Well, Everton are 15th at the moment, and we'll come on to them. They're 5 points clear of the bottom three.
Yeah.
So it's amazing what a couple of wins. I mean, the last 5, they've lost 2 and won 3. And I can't remember who we were talking about last week. Who was saying you were better off losing a couple more games and winning a couple. They had a load of draws. I can't remember who we were talking about last week. So yeah, you know, Dyche Ball was kind of turning it around. He's 3 points behind Brentford if you look at it another way. Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll cover... As I so wanted them to go down, you know. It's crazy.
But a lot can happen in it.
Yeah, I think
28 games left.
Yeah, Luton have maybe helped themselves a little bit. I did tell you they're not going to beat Derby's record. I mean, they've already got 5 points. They can get another 6 points for the end of the season.
Well, no, I say it might be Sheffield United.
Yeah,
worst
1 point.
Worst start.
1 point after 10 games.
Worst start to a Prem season ever. And they said if their stats continue...
The squad is so bad though.
If they're going to end up with if they carry like this, they end up with 4 points.
Yeah, they said that's their predicted points. And
how can they be
conceded
performing so bad compared to Luton?
plus goals.
Compared to the season they had last season, how can they be performing so bad?
I heard another stat today that if they carried at this rate, by the end of the season, they would have allowed 350 or 360 shots on target. The worst team last season was 198. So,
yeah,
you know, I never advocate for managers to get sacked unless Arteta annoy me. But is there ever an example of get someone in quickly to move to try and turn things around?
Is it the manager though?
But they're saying
the manager though?
It's Wilder. Like they're saying if he goes,
they want him back.
They want Wilder back.
Which
and it's like
nah, man. It's the manager. Okay. Let me rephrase that. Of all the things that you can change, now it's the manager. It's the manager. And we just talked about a manager who came in and with much of the same players did much better. I'm not saying he's going to come in and make them.
Yeah, but Wilder's not going to do any different, is he?
I'm not saying they should bring in Wilder, but they should bring someone in that is going to do better than 1 point in 10 games. That's what I'm saying. You might even still get relegated. But crazy, come on, 1 point in 10 games.
8-0, 5-0. Oof.
It's bad reading. But anyway, 3-1 Villa, another home win. Their home record is pretty familiar as well. You know, it's a easy thing to say, but you know, they're building a bit of a fortress at Villa Park. But on he marches. Anyway, moving on now. Liverpool 3, Forest 0.
Where do you want to start?
I mean, the stats on this game are just so... What's that new one they got? Field tilt or some rubbish?
What's that?
You know how the field tilt?
No.
Basically, it shows you... I think it shows you the areas of the pitch where the game was most played.
Oh, okay.
So then you can... It's a bit of a... I think it's... So we got possession that tells us how often who had the ball, but where they had the ball as well.
Oh, is that like when the Sky graphic splits up the pitch in thirds?
Yeah,
so like
kind of. Yeah.
5%.
Yeah, I believe
so.
So.
Yeah, okay.
But you know what I'm like with all these new stats? I'm not a fan. So who watched the game?
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah, of course. Sorry. Talk to me.
Well, I missed the first half.
So you all right then? But
I did watch the game. Technically, I did watch the game.
Of course I did.
Technically,
all right.
I did watch the game.
As a person
to be
who watched
honest,
the entire game.
We were quite sloppy. We had a lot of the ball. Like, Nottingham Forest didn't come to play football at all in the first half. Like, I know it's...
I saw the formation. You know when you look on the app and they guess the formation? It was just 4-5-1 or something.
They didn't come to play ball. So we had a lot of possession early on. I'd say for like the first, maybe like 10, 15 minutes, it's quite sloppy. Like, when you know a game's quite comfortable and you try and force that kind of final pass, etc. But we stayed patient, and things just.
You say stay patient. I mean, you were 2-0 up after 39 minutes.
Yeah, but I was saying that first kind of period, the 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say you didn't have to wait too long.
After that, my boy Salah playing those passes that I was talking about last week. when when he's influencing the game.
Probably he had to pass in that position.
No, but before then, like he played a few kind of passes to.
He's not paid to
the
pass, bro.
players.
He's paid to score.
Well, he's there to do both, and he's
No, I'm
doing
joking.
both.
I'm joking.
But yeah, pass to Szoboszlai, who set up Darwin for the second goal.
Yes.
Jota scored the first goal. And then the third goal, I don't know what your boy Turner.
Listen, he's not my boy anymore. He's a first employee.
No, all
Listen,
right. I'm
That's
going
where-
to shoot him some bell.
No, wait.
I'm going
Before
to
that,
shoot him
though,
some bell.
Wait, before we get to that.
He had a good game.
Before we get to that, so before we get to that was 77 minutes a bit later.
Mhm.
From what you saw, did that reinforce some of the thoughts you had about Salah last week, or actually does it lend more to the points Keith was making in the last episode?
To be honest, I think it was a bit of a quiet one in that sense of him not. There weren't like loads of chances for Salah to get on the end of. It looked more of just like a team game. To Keith's point, yeah. I mean, there was that position. I missed the first half, but from what I saw, he was involved. He was involved in when it came to him. He's looking for the pass. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe I was a bit premature. You're right. Maybe it's just one game.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah,
but
I think we've got across the whole team now. We've got a really good balance. Like with Trent coming in and doing that inverted stuff, looks good. I think my only criticism of that, it makes Konate have to do a lot of work. Konate's got to be really switched on.
Yeah.
Because he just like if Trent loses the ball in that position or the team does, there's a big gap there. So he's got to be switched on and cover that.
I mean, but then that's just normal, right? That's normal.
Not
It is
really,
because if your fullback gets caught high and the ball goes into the channel behind him, what happens? Your centre back comes across,
I was about to
and
say,
then your fullback covers in. So it's the same thing.
Well, I was gonna say when I look at how Arsenal did it last season, before Xhaka became this left eight or whatever we want to call it this week, you know, when we used to do that, he kind of used to play a proxy left back.
Yeah.
So you kind of had that cover. Nah, it wasn't great.
But we
when
don't
it was,
have that.
Yeah,
but
but
I
I'm not
was
saying,
about to say, doesn't anyone rotate?
Yeah, I'm not
into the
saying
channel?
it happens all the time, but there are instances where I'm just saying he has to be switched on because there are times when that gap is there.
I mean, of course, in a normal situation, in the example I used, you're not having to be switched on because your fullback's meant to be right here, right? Whereas in this position, yeah, you're right. Trent is guaranteed. No, he's going to be out of position. So yes, I do have to think about if that ball comes over the top. But more often than not, if that ball's coming over the top or a winger's attacking it, he should be pulling back out. If we don't have the ball, he should be pulling back out.
He's not always in the 6th position. Sometimes he's in the 10.
Yeah,
so that's
I noticed that as well.
And it's working, like doing well. Szoboszlai, I'm running out of
the engine.
Yeah, no, he's doing well.
Him and Gravenberch, 2-8s.
And Gravenberch.
Yeah, all right, lads.
Do we need a 6?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do need a 6 because even I think this was
So then, what
McAllister's
happens
best
to
game.
McAllister then?
But you just rotate. Like this is the thing. Like you've got to have a squad that you can rotate. Like where in all these competitions, I'm happy for us to get a 6 who can play the majority of the games, and then we just rotate, keep Szoboszlai, and then rotate.
I don't
Mac
think we're
and
bringing a
Gravenberch.
6 in. You know, I'll be honest with you.
I don't think you're bringing one into the summer.
Yeah, no, I don't
Yeah,
think we will.
Because you've got Thiago to come back,
but if we can
Bajcetic
get-
to come
yeah,
back,
if we can get
Curtis
Bajcetic
Jones,
to the
Harvey
levels
Elliott.
he was at the back end of last season.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, and to both your points, I think injury, the kind of people coming back from injury gives you that more traditional 6. So
Exactly.
you say more Bajcetic than Thiago because we know he'll kick 2 balls and get injured again. But then you have that rotation a bit further forward.
Yeah.
And if we look at the most successful teams in recent time, bruv, apart from 3 or 4 man, everyone gets rotated.
Yeah,
Five
we've got the midfield like last year. We didn't have the midfield options. Whoever came in, I was like, now, like if he plays Jones, Elliott, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch, who it has been so far, I'm happy because they're all showing that they're competent of playing in the position.
With all due respect to Forest, these are the kind of games where you guys would probably rotate, right? This is exactly the kind of game where I think you saw that in a little bit in Arteta's lineup. I was like, you're taking liberties a bit here, but
you can do it against.
Yeah.
At home
Smith
as well.
Rowe, Smith Rowe gets his first start, etc. So I think when you've got all those guys back, again, with all due respect to Forest, that's when you will see that shuffling of the pack.
I do like Endo, He came on,
Yeah, I was at the game on Thursday.
done a bit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's
hitting the road. What was that? Anfield?
Yeah,
Oh, must be nice.
Not one of these couch fans,
Yeah, never mind, mate. I don't
No,
know.
I'm not. I did get anyone in here.
Ooh.
I know. Man, go to games.
Ooh,
I guess so.
My season tickets about.
that's rude. Still,
Mm.
I feel.
When was the last
No,
time
it
you went to
wasn't a
Anfield, bro?
dig at you, bro. Don't
When
worry.
was the last time you went to Anfield?
So as I was saying, Cody Gap.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked good on Thursday.
He looked good, man. I know he's still warming up to the tempo of the game and the physicality of the game, but I think when he gets there, we'll have a good DM.
It's Carabao Cup this week, right?
Yeah, I was about to say
Yeah.
that. Like, that's him. He'll play in it.
Cody Gakpo was lucky to stay on the pitch. I'm sorry, that was a red card.
Yes.
That was a red card.
It was a bad tackle, but I think
That's a red card,
he was like jostling with someone before he went in.
He
wasn't
had someone on his right, and then Gibbs came in, and I know that one where you put your foot over the ball,
Yeah.
studs are kind of high. You drop your foot down on the other side of the ball. His foot didn't drop down on the ball. He kept going. He lunged into Gibbs.
Yeah, should have gone.
That was a red card.
And we'll do this every week, but it's so frustrating. And even you, as a Liverpool fan, you're saying, "Listen,
That's a red card.
you should be going for that." And we'll come on to
was
that.
nasty.
Even
I'm
a
sorry.
very different situation, but one that should definitely be a red. The whole Anthony on Doku.
Yeah.
Even stuff
Crazy.
like that. But we'll come to that. I mean, for Forest, again, they'll never say this in public, but you look at your fixture list. He's not expecting. He will set up his team to try and do what he can. He's not expecting any points at Anfield.
Yeah,
Let's
and
be
like they hit the
honest.
bar. Like Alanga had 2 good chances towards the back end of the game.
Yeah, and you think if
They started playing more in the second half, to be honest. And to be fair to them, they were proper dire in the first half.
injuries have caught up with them a little bit, and
Yeah.
Pastor when he wasn't around, otherwise he might have been a different threat.
He came on second half, 20 minutes. He done his bit.
20 minutes.
I know.
He's on his way back.
But that just to go back to the whole tenor thing, I'm going to shoot him some bail, right?
Yes,
Because the ball dropped, and it looked like the centre back was going to go for it. So he's kind of relaxed and just kind of, okay, let's see how this goes.
He's running forward, so
I know.
he's in command of the situation. So
you're right. No,
it should
I
be a
agree
big
with you.
screen.
to cover.
I
right?
agree with you, but the centre, so there's a little bit of miscommunication, right? But it does look like the centre back's going for it, and I can see how it's looked like that to Matt Turner. He's kind of eased up and then realised, but look, he's not going for it. It's gone over his head.
It looked to me like he misjudged the bounce, bro.
No, I don't think. I don't think it's
Yeah,
a case
I
of
thought
misjudging the
he
bounce. I think he just thought, oh, I'm all right. He's gonna.
Tell
He's
you
got
what,
this.
he does a diving header when Salah hasn't got a goal today.
or just get anything on it. Like,
Like he just throws, and we know
knee
certain
shin.
mad keepers. They're throwing their head. They're doing something. If he had just actually committed, we're not.
Well, he did it the second time and cleaned that ball out.
And
He
if
said,
he was
"I'm not."
anywhere near that football, he would get in the stand with it.
He was like, "I'm not. Yeah, not again." Clean that ball out the second time.
Yeah,
But I said in the international break, we should get the 12 points maximum for our games before we play City, and I think we're on course for that. We got Luton on Saturday away, or Sunday even, and then Brentford at home before we play City after the international break.
got Luton on Sunday.
Yeah,
I need to
I
get my
think
wild
we'll
card
beat
out.
City, you know.
I think if we get 6 points from the next 2 games, fingers
I
crossed.
think we'll beat City.
Nah, B.
We'll see.
I think it'll be comfortable as well.
It's that Etihad. We don't play.
Oh, is that Etihad?
Yeah, we don't. If
Okay,
it was at
we'll beat
Anfield,
them.
yeah.
It won't be comfortable. but
Even
we'll
at
beat
Anfield,
them. What?
you're not beating them.
No, we
Who
beat
is
them
this
at
guy?
Anfield. We beat them at Anfield last year. We were dead last year. Like we beat them at Anfield.
I don't
That's
know,
calm.
man. The way these men are playing right now.
We're going to
just
touch on.
stupid.
We're going to touch on their game, but I don't think they played great yesterday.
Really? I think after the first 30 minutes, it would look like Pep had a control pad on the bench. That's what it looked like. But yeah. Look, you guys are paired away relatively quietly. I don't know what. I don't even know how to quantify that when we say quietly, but you know what I mean. It's
don't
almost
get
like
that
it's just getting on.
because we're doing pretty much the same as you,
I know.
Tottenham, and City. Like
But you know what it is.
We're not doing
No
anything
one's
quietly.
paying us any mind.
Maybe
it's-
it's
I love
because-
it.
No, but you know what it is? Maybe it's because you guys are being efficient without being noisy. Does that make sense? Like, there was a point where almost every other goal Salah would score would be a worldie. Or or every other goal would be a 13 pass move, Mane. Do you know what I mean? So I think, but you're going through the teams, and if you don't watch the games, you won't see the quality of how you're going through these teams, right? We've not had Slobozai score 3 or 4 screamers. These are the things that get the headlines these days. So when people say quietly, no, what you mean is you haven't seen many highlights. But if you watch the games, you will see how well you guys are playing. You will see how well
we turn up, we do what we do, we grab the 3 points, and we go home comfortably. Yeah. The only time we've been in the news is VAR. Been any issues or been the scheduling of our games. Otherwise, we just turn up and do our job.
Yeah. You finished. This guy.
Come on, anyway. Reds.
Anyway, moving on. Manchester United 0. Manchester City 3. There's a lot to unpack here.
I mean, is there?
Dude, Man United started well.
Wait. Sorry.
Do your
What's this? Tell me who the home team is here. Yeah?
Man United.
Team stats. Shots. One team had 7. The other team had 21. Shots on target. One team had 3. The other team had 10. Possession. One team had 39%. The other team had 61.
I mean, are we surprised?
Bro.
Are we really surprised?
We're not surprised, but it's
like I said, it's a derby, innit? Like we say.
But this is United under Ten Hag.
And don't get me wrong, football can swing on small things. You know, they had an early chance early on. What's his name? How you say his name? Is it Højlund or Højlund? Højlund. Mm-hmm.
You can have that one.
Yeah. Rasmus.
So, he takes that chance early on. Maybe it's a different game. I don't think it is. I just think the way they lose is maybe different. I don't think they hold out. And as you say, it wasn't electric from the beginning, but once they got into gear, it was John Stones, Rodri, it was just
and the reason why I say City didn't play well is because they didn't have to. Like, I think if they was up against a more solid team who had a little bit more nous, I still think they execute things they do very well.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing.
It's not like they didn't have to. They didn't have to work for it. Like, and that's the thing. As a Man United fan, you're looking at that, and it's like, why is it so easy? Granted, the first goal, in my eyes, it's a penalty, but it's an unnecessary penalty, innit? Like,
I agree.
I know everyone says, these things happen every week in every
but they're not supposed to.
But this is it.
Every week we talk about them giving penalties for it, and now
just because people get away with it, doesn't mean you're going to get away with it. So don't give the VAR or the referee something to think about. Just don't do it, innit?
This is where these guys can't win, right? So we all as football fans complain about these type of fouls all the time. They finally give it. Everyone's saying, but that happens every week. They're going to have to give a pen for it. Yes, they should. Then people would stop.
100%.
So, and then, I mean, there's the defending. So, Haaland's second goal. Where are you all going?
Criminal.
Why 4 defenders heading to... Are we in primary school? Why is everyone running towards the ball?
Haaland walked to the back stick. And the maddest thing about it is, right, he did the same move
in the first half.
In the first half. Onana pulled off a worldie of a save.
Yeah.
It was the same
exactly the same
move. The second half comes in, he does it again. But I watched, you see when the ball went out wide, I thought, okay, I don't know what it was. I just had a player cam moment. Let me just see what Haaland does here. I stared at him. He literally just looked around and then just walked, like, kind of to the back stick.
Yeah.
No one. And then Evans looked at him and was like, do I go with him or do I go with my man that's running front stick?
Or tell someone else to do it.
And then he didn't even do none of that. He just he looked at him and went, that's not the danger. The danger's front stick. Gone front stick. Bruv, the ball just went, And
that's smart from Bernardo. Because obviously a lot of people get to the byline and they just drill it across near post. just dinked it.
Yeah.
Right,
Elegantly.
but the thing is, they do that every game. If you actually watch City this season,
Mm.
I've been like the game. Who was it against when they were manhandling? Was it City
You-
when they were trying to manhandle and it was taking ages for
Sheffield
Haaland?
United.
Oh, Sheffield United.
Sheffield United.
yeah.
Remember that game?
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. The goal came. How did the
Yeah.
goal come from?
Yeah.
Grealish got to the byline,
Yeah.
lofts it up.
Yeah,
Why?
and
Because Haaland is going to outjump everyone,
Yeah.
whoever he comes against, and
Yeah,
that's
and if you
exactly
do it
what
5
happens.
times, 1 or 2 of them is gonna come off.
And
it wasn't even the best header.
I promise you, it's
No.
the same. It's the same. Watch any City game. I guarantee you'll see it. Get to the byline, dink it, Haaland's on the end of it. And it's the same thing. And that was, oh, mate. I'm not even a United fan. I watched that and I was just, what is
It's
this?
like, how, innit? Like,
What is this?
it's like, what,
And
all the
this
group
is-
chats I was in was like, why is he free?
Yeah.
Why is he not being marked?
Well,
And it's like,
what is this?
it's
that's not even like a coaching thing. That's just basics.
you don't need to be coached.
Yeah, that's just
That's
basic.
poor defending.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at that line. Have Maguire and Evans as your lead centre backs. Come on, man.
one of the things that I heard today that someone said it described that defending as pathetic. No.
Yo, I
It's
could
crazy.
not believe what I
That
saw.
is-
You know, and they say some of it's down to injuries, got key players missing, but I just feel like,
Yeah.
regardless of all that, with the investment they've made, then you start looking at, did Ten Hag set them up correctly? Like, you know, you're playing City, you're not in the greatest form. You make comments afterwards about, you know, the type of players you've got, City to play a certain style. So with the players you've got, was that the style to approach a City game? It was too open.
I don't think he
Listen.
knows his best team. to be
He's
honest.
easy. I'm not sold on him. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
I looked at that team taking off Amrabat and pulling McTominay back was a shocking decision.
Yeah.
It turned out to be. They looked worse bringing on Mount and then having 3 10s. Because as far as I'm concerned, Ericsson, Fernandez, and Mount, they're 10s. They're not 8s. They're not box to box midfielders. They're not your Szoboszlai. They're not
Is it
your.
Mount meant to be-
They're not your Gravenberch. They're not your Enzo or Gallagher. They're not good. They don't have the legs to be imposing themselves on the
But isn't that
midfield.
what Mount's meant to be, though? Isn't Mount meant to be
no,
the next?
Nah.
bro. No,
Mount's
bro.
never
So
been
everyone
that.
kept telling
He's
us he's
never
work rate.
been-
That's why Ten Hag wants him.
He's
He's the guy
never
with the
been
work
that, bro.
rate.
He's
Never.
never been that.
Play
They're
that
all,
left 8, blah, blah, blah.
they're all 10s, bro. And they're all doing the same thing. You got Fernandez. I'm sorry. He's just... They need to drop him. They need to drop him.
What happened?
They need to drop him.
Yeah.
And play who?
Ericsson's just not the same player he was. Granted, we all know what he went through, right? He can only... He's not going to give the same output that he used to.
So let's shoot Ten Hag some bell. Who you drop Bruno? Who do you play instead?
Bruv, have a more cohesive midfield. Wait, let me
Give me a
finish. Let me finish. So I don't know. Let's say you've got 4-2-2-2, right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
4-2-3-1.
Yep.
Right. So Rashford out left,
Mm.
Mount in the 10, whoever's out right, Martial,
Anthony.
Anthony. We for some reason he doesn't get dropped. McTominay and Amrabat
Amrabat.
or Cassie.
He's
Or-
injured.
or-
He's injured.
All right,
Arsenal's injured.
cool. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
injuries
Yeah.
injuries removed, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so McTominay and Amrabat. But let's say injuries removed. Cassie, Amrabat, I'd even put McTominay because he's been doing it. He's
Yeah.
been scoring.
I think he wants Amrabat and Casemiro together at some point, but obviously injuries
Yeah, of
haven't
course. Yeah.
permitted that. But Varane was on the bench. Like, why is Maguire or Evans, mainly Evans, who you sold 7 years ago, starting ahead of him? Like,
Oh, we don't know what shape Varane came back in. Maybe he's not in the. He just come back from injury.
but he's been on the bench a couple of times. Like, if it was his first game back,
Okay,
I'd say,
fair.
all right, fair enough. But yeah,
I'm just trying to. I'm trying
he
to.
makes some odd decisions. And
He makes
if you-
some shocking
I'm not sure if I
decisions.
sent it to our football group. Like, his list of signings is
Yeah.
terrible.
It's mad.
It's really bad.
No.
And this
More
whole-
accurately, it's his list of signings versus their performance to date.
And
That's
and this whole thing about I'm not going to play the way I played at Ajax because I don't have the players
well,
for
I was
that.
coming.
I
to
have
that,
players
yes.
to be. I have these players where I can do something different, bro. It's not working.
Well, number one,
It's not working.
there's a lot of players that you sanctioned.
Yeah.
So
from
when-
Ajax as
Yeah.
well.
So when you're doing that, you must have had an idea of what style you want to play. Two, one of your most expensive signings came from Ajax. So how did you want him to come and do that here? I think he sounds like someone who Ten Hag sounds like he needs to learn how to read the room. I'll be honest, because when you take comments like this, it's not a particularly edifying for him. You take the whole Jadon Sancho conversation, and people are struggling to separate what he said, how he said it, and importantly when he said it, and what he was trying to do at that time. You just lost. I think you just lost to Arsenal.
Yeah,
it was the Arsenal game, right? You've just lost to Arsenal, and you're now turning the attention to somebody that wasn't involved in that game, so he had no part to play. You lose in that game, right? They need to separate that from Jadon Sancho's actual shortcomings, because I think two things can be true. Yes, he can get to training on time. Yes, I'm not there. Maybe he can apply himself to training better. But what Ten Hag has done and how he's managed that is probably also poor. And then the same thing I was saying about Jadon Sancho at the time is you're not playing well enough to respond to him. Now, Ten Hag, your team's not performing enough to be having that kind of stance.
Have you seen the stats of all the other players in the similar positions?
Yeah.
Only Rashford has registered anything.
Yeah. I'm surprised at that.
No one's registered anything.
Well, they say Modric has scored more Prem goals than 5 Manchester United players put together.
Wait, Haaland had the same amount of Prem goals as Manchester United.
Yeah.
Like, that's bonkers after 10 games.
So are we at the point now? Because what I feel with the whole narrative around Manchester United, so we had Gary Neville doing this on Sky the other day. It's all about the Glazers. It's all about the top. And don't get me wrong.
I can see his point.
I can't.
But I can see. I think it's a double-edged sword. I think it's a double-edged sword
because he's been beating this drum for a long, long time. And how is that so connected to the point where these are people? So you can't say they have not invested. They've invested heavily since they've owned this club, right? They've had they've gone out and invested in their management as well. So not just players.
Yeah,
they've had some of the games. They've had at least one of the games. Top 15 managers in the last 2 decades. You put LVG in top 15.
Yeah,
top 20 managers. You had Mourinho, who's some people is top 3 managers ever to manage the game. And you hear professionals, you hear pros or ex-pros saying it now. What's going on at the top of the club board? Who's owning? When I come to the training ground, that doesn't matter. It has no effect
this
on
is
me.
it.
I'm going to do my drills, running between the codes, take free kicks, whatever. Work on shape and all of that. So I get Gary Neville's point from a macro point of view in terms of Manchester United as an institution should not be in this shape. There shouldn't be this much uncertainty.
Show me a club that's been in turmoil upstairs that's performed well on the pitch.
I could show
Liverpool under Hicks and Gillette, we weren't performing. But when that stuff was going on with them, we weren't doing well. Newcastle under Mike Ashley, they weren't doing well.
No. So I'm not saying that isn't a factor. One of the factors in the underperformance. What I'm saying is when they're underperforming to this extent, that cannot be the main contributor.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Argument though.
No. All I said was I can see his argument, but I just don't think I agree. I don't think that's the sole argument.
That's the main factor.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. But the level of players that they have in the team, if you went through that Man United team
on paper,
mostly in 2 players in each position, they're all internationals. Like, it's not like you said, like with Newcastle, Liverpool, we didn't really have superstars or proper internationals playing for us. Neither did Newcastle really at the time.
It was on the tail end of Rafa Benitez, right?
Man United have got like World Cup winners, like regular starters for Brazil, Argentina, who else? Like,
and this is my point. I guess my point is everything has been the players, the Glazers. When do we start talking about the fact that Erik Ten Hag is not doing his job as well as he should be?
Okay, I mean, I think, do you know what it is as well?
That's my thing.
I agree, and that conversation needs to happen sooner rather than later. I think, I personally believe where Gary's been so harsh with previous managers, he's trying to give Ten Hag room.
Yeah.
And he's not trying to come across as the guy that's criticising the manager. So he's focusing on the top. And don't get me wrong, there's no smoke without fire. Yes, the top does have an effect on the bottom, but you're right, it's not the main cause. The main cause is what's happening within those 4 walls when the manager is talking to the players, right? And when the coaches are taking them out onto the field and running drills with them. I think there's a lot going on. I think that the stuff at the top as well as this at the bottom, there's just a lot. The players are getting into stuff off the field. It's just there's a lot going on.
Yeah, but then touching on your point with Anthony earlier, like how did you legislate for him coming on the pitch? And like he could have been sent off for the kick initially.
Yep.
But he got the yellow card, but then he could have been booked again for slapping away Doku's hand, which he had the right to get in his face about, because he'd like
you never go for the ball. You just
like literally just swung a kick at me. Like what's going on?
Yeah, and then I'm always reluctant to read too much into it, but it's a fair point. People are saying, well, you're now seeing so much indiscipline. You know, Bruno's running around waving his arms at everybody and everything, arguing the ref on every point. You've got Anthony doing things like that. It's almost people now feel like the team's a bit broken. And the Man United fan said to me a couple of weeks ago, I'm not sure if I said it on here, so apologies if I'm repeating myself, but he said when he watches his team play, right, everybody is doing different things.
Yeah, you said this. Yeah,
so some 3 players are playing counter-attacking football, 3 players are playing possession football. You know, it's just. But for me, a lot of that comes down to Ten Hag, and you know me, I always like the whole, you know, you have to reciprocate the sentiment. So when he won the Carabao Cup and got them in Champions League, that was him doing well. That was him pushing them in the right trajectory. Now things aren't going well. It can't be every reason but him. It can't be.
Yeah.
You can't have it
there
both
always
ways.
seems to be it always seems to be someone else's fault and never him just kind of no accountability with him.
Maybe he just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
I think if they got rid of him, the next kind of manager they bring in, it has to be a coach. I don't think they need a manager.
It's got to be a De Zerbi or someone.
It's got to be a good top level coach. Someone that's going to come in and go, right, this is who I'm working with. Cinema. What's this?
Yeah.
And he's just going to go out into the dressing room. He's going to get into them. He's going to bring the best out of them. Implement a philosophy, a style of play. It's like someone like Ange. If they'd have got Ange, can you imagine?
Yeah.
And that was another thing that Gary said that I didn't agree with. He was like, oh, you know, Ten Hag come into an unstable situation, whereas Ange came into something that was stable. I was like, hold on, that doesn't make sense. Tottenham were a mess off the back of Conte.
He didn't even know if he was going to keep
Kane. No one knew what was going on with Harry Kane.
The Kane saga rolled on for how long?
Yeah,
that must have been so disruptive.
Lloris said he wanted to leave.
Exactly. And he's still there.
I forgot Lloris was still there.
He's still there.
I thought he left.
No, he's still there.
He's still at Tottenham.
Yeah, so
Come on, mate.
He's still there.
I think Neville.
You need a coach. Man United need a good coach. Look at Liverpool. Pep's a coach. Klopp's a coach. De Zerbi. And Arteta. You need a good high level coach.
Well, the thing is, again, to shoot Manchester United some bell, you look around, right? Everyone does this in business. You know, you look around. What has been successful recently? The guy that comes in doesn't have to be a Mourinho or a Pep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pick someone with the right attitude, with the right personality to get things right. They would have looked at you guys with Klopp, because when Klopp came here, he wasn't tier 1 yet. You know, he wasn't a top. Yeah, he wasn't talked about in the Peps and the.
No, he wasn't in the Pep League, but he was very close.
At Liverpool. So how can we get someone there? Oh, actually, well, this is Arteta's first managerial job.
Has he earned that at Liverpool?
What?
100%. That status. He wasn't talked about as a.
He was talked about.
He was talked about, but I think
2 leagues in a Champions League final.
But I think
Dortmund.
Since he's come to Liverpool,
he's solidified it.
He's in the
solidified
top
it.
man
He was talked about
conversation.
one of the next lot that
Yeah,
could get there.
he's like, if he's available, get him.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what we did.
Yeah, Arsenal, everyone.
Now he's like 30.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
And they're looking at maybe, you know, Arteta is effectively almost a Pep thing again, because Pep was youth coach.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at that and all the noise let's be honest, it was all positive talk about Ten Hag before Man United even went through him. What he's doing at Ajax, the way they played, the Champions League run, all the leagues,
coaching team.
Yeah.
All of that. He worked for Pep at Bayern, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So to be fair to them, you know, you can't now look back and say he was a mistake. My only thing is, now that he's here, just because they've been through X amount of managers, doesn't mean he needs to be dining out on that any more than he should. He's been in the job 18 months, and I would challenge any of you to tell me, you know, and this is a question everyone's asking on every podcast and every Instagram post today, What is their style of play?
Yeah, he doesn't have one. And I
But
think
before he came, he had one.
Question: do you think that the job at United is a poison chalice in the sense of managers come and lose their way because of Man United as an institution?
it's interesting you say that
Mm.
because there was a point in Klopp's tenure where he was like, forget that boot room stuff. That's gone.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was like, the Liverpool
Thank you.
boot room.
Thank you.
Paisley, Shankly. But they didn't win anything.
Yeah.
He was like, forget that. We got to build something new going
Mhm.
forward. And Man United now are still haunted by
The
Alex
Fergie
Ferguson.
era.
And
I agree.
granted, he one of the best managers ever to grace the game. Until they shake that, and it's going to be hard to, because it's only been 10 years since he's been gone, and he's still there in the stands every game.
Arsenal was shaking the Wenger era.
To a degree.
To a degree.
I don't think.
That's
I'll
not.
tell you what.
I don't look at an Arteta Arsenal and look at it in the same light I look at a Wenger Arsenal.
Wenger, even though Wenger was has very heavily influenced where Arsenal are today.
He's not around.
This is it. Like, he only went back for the first time.
Bro.
Was it this season or the
Yeah.
end of last season?
No, this
Like,
season.
Every
Yeah.
time there's a game, cameras padded, Sir Alex is there.
This,
Sir Alex has
Yeah.
picked his successor.
like,
Let
yeah,
it go, man.
I think, but it's not down to the manager. It's got to be everyone.
And this is why
They- and-
this is why
Hold
the
on,
top
though.
has an effect
Hold
on
on,
the bottom.
Hold on. I think
Because I do agree with Keith in the sense of the Fergie era,
Mm.
the Fergie cloud
The
is
whole-
still
Like,
over
if
the.
you get
the
so,
club.
I know I keep going back to Liverpool, but no one goes to Liverpool
Mhm.
now and be like, they're not talking about the Shanklys and
No,
the
we
They
don't
do
talk
on
about
TV, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
not in the
yeah.
sense that we do.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah,
even
yeah.
talk
Like,
about.
now it's just
What's his name? Rafa Benitez. They don't even talk about the Benitez era in
yeah,
the sense
like
of winning the Champions
You
League.
got to be
in how
like,
long?
right,
Getting
that's
to two
happened.
finals in
Right.
whatever.
Ferguson
We don't even talk
Ferguson
about.
happened. We understand he was a legend. For us to get forward, you got to stop calling him the boss and stop saying under Fergie this would have happened.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
that's what they're still.
I
That's
agree.
what they're still saying.
I
I
think
agree.
I think
what
it's-
would have Fergie have done?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be this petulant. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
He's not there no more.
I think it's
Don't
let
worry
go.
about him.
I think like a lot of these things,
I agree.
there's layers to it, there's nuance to it, yeah? I think you can still call Fergie the boss. You can still acknowledge all of that. Do you know why I think, and I don't want to overstate this, but do you know what I think is another problem as well? And I think Liverpool suffered from it for a little while, is that a lot of the narrative and commentary around the game is heavily influenced by ex-Man United people, right? And one of the biggest mouths in this whole thing
Gary Neville.
is Gary Neville, right?
Real
So
right
he's
behind
been a
him.
great pundit, etc. But and it's changing a little bit now. For a long time, it was ex-Liverpool, right? You turn on Match of the Day,
Hansen,
and it was
Hansen, Lawrenson.
you know,
Yeah, that's
and it
true.
was
That's so
Souness
true.
every week on
Yeah.
Sky,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
put on his name 5 European, and I'm like, bro, you won that when I was 3 years old,
That's
you
true.
know, and I'm old, right?
That's true.
So I think the narrative around that, and Rio has made his own kind of punditry career, etc. So you got all of these people who keep harking back to that time
Yeah.
because it's the only time that they knew.
Yeah.
It's the only time that they know. Yeah, when I was doing this, and you know what, you guys have fantastic careers. You guys have you did wonderful things. But one thing that I think Arsenal benefited from is that we didn't really have that. So when it was time to between Wenger leaving and now, well, who have we got?
Thierry Henry.
Yeah,
But
Thierry
even then,
Henry.
Thierry Henry
And
would
he-
never talk
Yeah,
about
and he was
that.
a bit anti for a bit because of
Yeah.
how he thought he was treated. We've had Ian Wright, and no disrespect to Unks, but no one takes him. He hasn't had the same profile as them, man.
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to that kind of commentary, and then what? Martin Keown. No one's listening to him in that regard. So you got the whole narrative and the whole industry of football broadcasting and the people who drive the story is largely by United dominated by players from that era.
Yeah.
And of course, it was
And
a
the press,
successful
and
area.
the wider press pick up on it.
Yeah.
Former player Scholes, former player
exactly.
Neville.
Scholes is, and then
Yeah.
Roy Keane does his thing he does, and he's probably the fairest out of all of them. But that's
I know. I was about to say. I think he's probably the
one.
fairest
So
one.
then they wheel out Scholes later on in that phase. He comes on with his sort of dry and very direct and quite uninspiring analysis of
Yeah.
things.
Even
But to your
Hargreaves,
point-
yeah,
Hmm?
TNT, like Owen Hargreaves is on TNT
Yeah,
with Scholes, isn't it? Like,
that's
yeah,
that's what I'm
I
saying.
forgot how many there was.
Yeah, so it's very heavily influenced, and I didn't until it changed. I didn't clock how Liverpool influence it was before, which then was a problem because then the gap or how long you lot went without winning the Prem when Rafa was there, it was all these guys that they won the league and they won the Champions League. Yeah, blah blah. McManaman's there and I left to get to Real and all of this. So I think there's that bit, but is it a poison chalice? I think not quite. And I think at Manchester United, like any club, this dry period isn't too dissimilar in time to everyone else's, right? It goes in swings and roundabouts. We have to remember, before Fergie won...
The only thing, though, is they've got the resources.
Wait, hold on.
And the pool. Like everyone likes to tell me, Man United's this big club, this big commercial.
Yeah, but
you've got the resource and the pool.
But we've seen clubs have money. A few things have to come together. We saw Real Madrid spend a lot of money. You know, there's a Predator Galacticos team didn't win the Champions League. They spent all the money in the world.
Yeah,
of
course.
You know.
But then that's Perez coming out and saying, yeah, this strategy was the wrong one.
Exactly.
And they've adjusted.
But it took time. That was a period of time. You know, before Fergie won the first league, how many years had it been since Man United? I think we saw it in the Beckham documentary. It was something crazy.
It was a lot.
So everyone goes through their cycle. You lot had your time to win the Prem. So 10 years, I think the era we're in now, everything is spotlight every day. And I think, and I just think, you know, you look at what Mourinho did, won the Europa League, won the FA Cup, came second. People were talking rubbish about him then. Man United fans would kill for that now.
Yeah, but they were doing that based on the Fergie era, innit? And that's what we say. You got to accept where you are now and be like, right, if this is if second and the Europa League is our base to go forward, all right, let's do that. Where it's the whole entitlement thing, innit? Because we've been so well previously,
that as well.
we should be there.
The commentary around it.
Football fans just need to humble themselves, innit? Like,
I don't think they need to. I don't think they should.
No, I think you do, man. Because you get to a point where you're like, everyone's like, oh, we're Man United. We shouldn't be. Well,
no, these are football fans.
but I think you got.
But they're football fans that are driven and by ex-United players who reinforce the entitlement. When you've got ex-United players saying, well, back when Fergie and in my era, and we did this, and we'd have never happened, and you've got Rio on his own show, and like you said, all these other pundits, Owen Hargreaves, you get the fans then go, yeah, no, he's right.
Come on, look at Ole, look at the whole Ole at the wheel thing, all of that. It catches weight and catches fire. But I guess the point I was making about football fans is, look, football fans are football fans, man. There's still fans at every extreme of the spectrum. That's cool. They're football fans. Yeah. But the people that are custodian of the club, I think to go back to the original point, I think so many things have to slot into place. And whenever you're employing anybody in any job, there's a level of risk. But when you're Manchester United and you're employing a manager who's making a big leap, right? Going from that Ajax job to Man United job.
Yeah, it's massive.
You know, most people take a job or two in between. It's a massive risk. Even, you know, Arteta going into the Arsenal job was a massive risk. And let's be honest, at times it was going to go the other way. They stuck with him for, some will say it's faith. I would say partly financial. If you pay him off, you get him. But, you know, Man United don't have that problem. They're not as cash rich as they used to be, but they don't have the problem where they can't get rid of Ten Hag and get someone else in. So I think the right person can come in, even in these dire circumstances. I'm not saying win anything, but they could do better than what is being done now, what we're seeing at the moment. The guy's 18 months in. But if I look back at, I'll tell you the most recent example I've got of someone who probably got a job that was, you know, bigger than his experience at the time. It was about 18 months in. People like me were like, yeah, get him out. They stuck with him and they backed him and look where he is now.
Yeah, it's paid off.
So,
to a degree.
If you're being 100% objective, there is an argument to say these are the times where you stick with the guy and let him see it through. I don't think they'll get rid of him before the end of it. Unless it goes drastically wrong, I don't think they'll get rid of him. He has lost 5 out of 10 league games. If we get to December and he carries on this rate, if this carries on even half of this rate, if he loses another 3 games, 3 or 4, if he gives another 3 games before December, he's finished. You can't get to December and lost 8 games in the league.
Not United.
But
then again,
who do they get
this goes to the whole point of removing the entitlement. Maybe that's just their level right now.
Not after I've given you £400 million.
Nah, bro. Maybe that's just their level. Maybe
we all have to take responsibility.
I know, I understand that, but then who's going to come in?
Somebody else. There's always somebody. And we all have to take responsibility, but let's be honest. Who goes first? Who goes first?
Yeah.
You-
I think they might
hold
even
it.
break the bank for De Zerbi. If he was to go, like just looking at someone who knows the Premiership, who has got a style of play, I think
I wouldn't.
So
I'm sorry, I wouldn't.
So
You wouldn't go for him?
I don't want him. I don't want
Unless
him to,
it's before January and you guarantee me I can go and spend on players, whatever I need to get
Okay,
certain
so
players.
You
I don't
say
know,
you
do
say
you-
you say
Then-
spend on
down
players.
there, bro.
You say spend on players.
Mhm.
He'd be going into a far better squad than what he's got
But
now.
he
No, he wouldn't be. I
I
challenge
agree
you.
with you.
I
I
challenge you.
agree.
No,
I agree.
player for player, Man United have got a better squad than Brighton.
Ooh, I reckon if we looked at it, you know where I'm going with this, isn't it? I don't know. I think yes, there are some standout players, but if we went through it, player for player,
And as a team,
I don't know if it's that super clear cut right
Nah,
now.
it is.
So look, so what's the name of the centre back? What's the name?
Dunk.
Dunk. You don't think Dunk gets into that Man United 11 right now?
But he's not better than Martinez or Varane.
but does he get
No, but I'm
into
saying
that
like
team?
if you take the
Is
players
he
out of
better?
there.
He's not better than
You're
Varane right now.
You're comparing
No,
ability
I'm
for
comparing
ability.
like yeah,
Yeah.
like ability, not
Okay,
like
so the
not
Varane
now.
you've seen in the Manchester United shirt. Forget Champions League winner Varane. The Varane you've seen since he touched Carrington
Mm-hmm.
today,
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
you're having
right.
him over Dunk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
No, okay,
I'm
yeah,
not-
I hear that.
I'm not
If
clearly
you're
sold on-
doing it based on
It's the
performances,
opinion.
if you're doing it based on performances, then yeah, it's different. But I'm saying,
Well, performances
on
over the last year.
yeah, but I'm saying, but on paper,
No, that is
Right,
paper
yeah.
now. It's been over a year. It's paper now.
I agree. That is paper.
It's paper now.
fair
You're only
enough.
as good as your last.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
it's not historical standing. Yes, Lewis Dunk can't touch Varane, but as a player who's been in the Premier League, I guess I'm not saying it's clear cut either way. I'm just saying it's not that clear cut that Man United are way better. I actually don't
Yeah,
think
okay,
so.
fair.
And there's
okay,
probably
right,
some players, if you went for it player for player,
yeah, it's
there's some players you would take now.
Take it playing.
It's
Yeah, there's
opinion
yeah.
or
Or
Malacia.
Matoma starting.
Matotic.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying? I think
Ferguson starting.
you get more of a blend at the moment
Yeah,
rather
fair
than
enough.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
That's mad. Brighton players getting in the Man United's first team, like it's crazy, isn't it?
if we base it on
What would Ferguson say?
Bruv. And that's what I'm saying. If we base it on what we've seen in the league, not CVs, over a decent sample size, over the last season and a half or whatever it is, you might be like, actually, I'd have him, and I'd have him, and as you said
right.
previously, the standard between teams in the Premiership has shortened,
Yeah.
right? Everyone else has kind of raised their game to a certain bit. That's why you can't really cheat anymore. You can, but you can't, right?
Yeah,
We've
yeah, of
seen
course.
that, Emery's proven that over there, etc. Now, don't get me wrong, we're 10 games in. But as I've said previously before, you do 12 games in, you're a third of the season through, right? So at that point, you can't just say it's early, bro, we've played 30% of games.
Yeah.
We're third way through. So, what are the next, let me check the next fixtures, but I think he needs to get his players back in and he needs to start. I think when you look at hierarchy of clubs here, they look at results, but they watch the games, bro. When they start seeing a certain type of loss, that's when they get worried and they do knee-jerk things. Because I'm not always saying that when boards fire managers, it's warranted, but they do knee-jerk stuff, right?
And a lot of
They're
their
fans like
decisions, are driven by the share price as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
When that moves and when things happen, they get itchy. They don't want their bottom line affected.
So we've got next in the league. I mean, Carabao Cup on Wednesday, but
Who they
I
got?
think that does. They got Newcastle at home, but again, I don't think losing Carabao Cup's gonna determine his job or not. But you got Fulham. Next league game is Fulham at home on Saturday.
Why not? He won it
Hmm?
last year. No,
It'd be harsh if that
that's
contributes
most
to
likely
his-
their
That
whole-
shouldn't be a barometer.
Yeah.
I know it shouldn't, but that's
But it's
most.
another
their
loss,
most-
innit? Yeah.
Their most likely source of a trophy.
So you got Fulham at home on Saturday. Sorry, Fulham away on Saturday. Not a banker by any chance. Then they've got Champions League away to Copenhagen. I'm not even making predictions for that anymore. Then they're at home to Luton. Surely that's 3 points. So
If Luton slap,
nah, be
Or even-
hey,
If even if they get a point, that's bad for them.
I
if
agree.
Luton,
Everton away,
hey,
Yeah.
and as a Man United fan told me today, they're not creating chances, right?
hey,
They're not. If Dice sets up the way he's been setting up, that's not going to be easy.
what Dutch to United?
Bro, respect them, please.
Moyes
Galatasaray
went.
away. Galatasaray away. Newcastle away. Chelsea at home. And then Bournemouth at home. So, to my whole point about 12 games, they reached 12 games with the Luton game. So he could get to 12 games and he can make it, 7 wins out of 12. Or
it looks tricky.
Or well, you're still working on 50. I mean, I don't see them losing to Fulham away. I don't see it. But I keep getting told I'm not really. I don't see it.
But if you look at the games recently, they shouldn't have got anything out of Copenhagen last week. Who did they beat in the Premier League before they played?
Before Copenhagen was Sheffield United 2-1.
McTominay scored 2 in the last. So
Brentford 2-1 before that.
Yeah, so they're getting wins and draws, but they're not looking well, and they're stumbling. Like the performances are not there. But
I mean, Onana, a couple of good saves from him.
Yeah,
that's the other thing as well. He keeps the scoreline quote unquote respectable, right?
To be fair, even the third goal, when Jury said Rodri clotted it, I found that quite funny. Rodri shot. Haaland was the only one on his toes. I think Dallo was the defender near him, and Dallo just looked. Oh, you saved it. Oh, nice save. And then he saw Haaland run in and pass it to Foden. I was like, the reaction time, and again, the things you shouldn't be coaching.
Yeah.
That should just be the players ready and anticipation.
But the ball should be getting palmed back into that area on the third one. Come on, man. That if it wasn't.
But to be fair, if the defender's doing their job, it doesn't come back because he palmed it away from. You're told to push it away from the goal.
Bro, it was in the corner of the 6-yard box.
It's away from the goal.
I don't know.
Goalkeeper union.
So Isaac, what do you think? What do you think is the line now? Do you think he gets the time, or is it just good old results dependent, or do they stick with him regardless and kind of see this as a moment to double down? What do you think?
I think they're going to stick with him, but there are a lot of factors in their decision. I think I don't necessarily just think it's the decisions on the pitch or the performances. I think there are other things that play out off the field, which are all forming part of their decision. So
I would love to know how many players are thinking, yeah, Sancho, I'm with you still. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple that's like, don't worry, we'll be here after he's gone, kind of vibes. And also you got the Ratcliffe thing to think about. If he comes in and gets apparently he's going to buy 25% of the club, but he wants, footballing decisions.
Right.
He wants the ability to or have the mandate to do that. I don't think Ten Hag stays.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
I don't think Ten Hag stays. So that's another thing to worry about.
Yeah, I want to see how this one plays out.
All right, Man United fans. Sorry, man. West Ham 0, Everton 1. I didn't see this coming.
Neither did I.
For West Ham at home. They've been decent. They've been playing well.
I mean, to Everton's point, so have they?
Yeah.
Relatively speaking, their performances are getting better.
Yeah. I mean, they couldn't get any worse, but yeah, I hate you.
Yeah, I'm disappointed, man.
Yeah.
I expected West Ham, at the very least, a draw. But I did expect them to win. And by the looks of it, they just couldn't do it.
And it looks like Moy's been listening to the podcast again. We talked about, starting Kudus, which he listened. You were saying we said they got to inject some more ingenuity behind the striker. But Antonio.
That's the problem.
Bruv.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Listen, I love the guy to bits and everything, but he's a limiting factor, man.
Yeah.
He's a limiting factor.
He looks like a player whose body is about to break down when he plays. It's just like 4 or 5 years ago, he was like explosive, like, and he'll give you those odd games of being that and like bully like against Chelsea earlier in the season. But it just, even when he's running, he's not like as pacey as what he used to be.
See, but here's the thing: with athletic ability, there comes a period where it no longer.
It's not the differentiator anymore.
It's not exactly because, and then it now becomes about your mental and the technique.
Yeah,
right?
Making the smart choices.
Exactly, making the smart runs, knowing where to be, knowing when to. I mean, it's the whole Messi walking thing, right?
Yeah,
I don't have the ability to run like that anymore.
But
I've got the brain. I know where to be when the ball when the ball's in a certain area.
Well, and to the point you make, over 38 games, what that athleticism brings you, yeah, it works. But then over the games, you need
peaks and
different.
troughs.
Yeah,
He
you
has his
need
peaks and
different
troughs.
bits, and it just seemed there were times where the ball doesn't stick with him, he doesn't hold it up, and I just feel like with him, he could, if he's not on job 100% and everything's great, then
And what else?
those
is there?
shortcomings maybe become a bit of a liability for the team, or they don't have another option. And to that point where we talked about in the group, David Obama, young star, I was hearing so much about him pre-season, he's now going to break into the first team, etc. As a youngster, he's sitting there thinking, hold on,
Why can't
I can do the things that he can't do. Other people are getting trusted other teams. Why would I sign on here for another 3-4 years? No matter what you guys tell me, I must be able to get some minutes now.
Because what will happen is they'll say, yeah, we're going to break you in. They'll bring in another striker.
Yeah, and then you've
and
priced
then
him
you've
out.
now
With,
got to,
Yeah, he didn't even make
compete
the
with him.
bench.
Yeah.
He's not even making the bench.
yeah,
So
but
if Danny Ings can't even get on the pitch.
and that was going to be my next thing. How bad or how loyal is Moyes that Danny Ings can't even get meaningful minutes?
yeah,
And this is a guy that was a finisher. He was
yeah. But to Everton's point, like the young defender they got in Braithwaite,
Braithwaite, bruv.
he looks good. Like for like
You know
a
what he looks like?
relatively new Premiership player.
It looks like Dyche has just gone out and just bought Tarkowski or whatever his name is, minus 10 years. he looks like the same guy. Same height,
cloned
same
him.
beat, same build. The guy is massive. And, it's two big centre backs. He just,
Dutch ball, isn't it?
yeah, he just looks like Tarkowski Jr. It's crazy.
And he was on
He's good though. He's good.
loan at PSV last year.
Yeah. And they won the league, didn't they?
Played 27 Eredivisie games.
Didn't they win the league?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so-
yeah. No, he looks really good. I mean, obviously, Ashley Young got is suspended, but he even mentioned it before. Like, look, Youngie as they call him, he's been solid for us. And I just think a few bits and bobs that he's tried to do and keep them solid, it's worked. Calvin Lewin makes a massive difference. Like that guy,
when he's on job.
Yeah.
yeah. Like
and when he stays fit, yeah.
He's not at the level he was over the last kind of. Well, it's going back like 3-4 years ago. When he had that
well,
good
when
run
he was
where-
last injury free.
when he was knocking in the England
Yeah.
door. Yeah, I think teams like Everton, they should be higher up than relatively higher up than what they
Why?
are.
Why?
Yeah, I want to challenge that a little.
That's just like it's like a historical thing, innit? Like I'm doing that old cliche.
All right,
Like,
but wait.
performance wise,
Well, but
they haven't been.
But let's be specific about that. So they're 15th now. Where should they be? Give me a reason in the table.
So Everton,
Considering the point you made, considering recent improvement in standards. So where should they be? What would be acceptable for them?
acceptable would be 15th to 10th, I'd say, for
Mid-table.
this season.
I mean, they're 15th now.
Yeah, so
If
they finish top half, that's a really good season for Everton. Considering the teams that are around.
Considering they tried to go big and get Ancelotti in and James Rodriguez and Allen and Rondon and all these players, it didn't work. But the drop off shouldn't have been this bad. So I would say yes. Begrudgingly, I would say yes, mid-table, but they are where they should be.
And if you look at it recently, I mean, the games they're supposed to win, there were 2 games you need to be winning. They lost 1 to Luton.
Yeah.
But they beat Bournemouth convincingly 3-0. They weren't going to get any points at Liverpool. I told you that before they went there. West Ham was a game I wouldn't have put them down to get points in, but they've got points in. So that kind of almost compensates for the Luton loss that they shouldn't have had.
I think West Ham will be a bit up and down this season. Like I thought they could have been in that Brighton vein where they could kind of not challenging for top 6, but floating around the 7th, 8th, having a good run.
Do you reckon this was just the result of a European hangover?
No. You know what's going to happen? I think it...
You don't think so?
No, I think it's almost a thing of where you made that change and Brook Kudus seemed to be a bit more... have a bit more dynamism behind the front. Right?
No, West Ham, they did.
They lost on Thursday. They lost
on Thursday.
Yeah, they lost their unbeaten run.
17,
yeah. So you bring that in behind them. But actually, without a certain type of striker in front of him, there wasn't so much you could do. Kudus played really well. He was causing them trouble. He was picking up the ball in the pockets, etc. And I think Moyes is going to revert because of that.
Yeah.
He's going to revert. Whereas actually, you can imagine if there was someone that had other elements to their forward play than Antonio, that could have worked pretty well. So I'm not entirely sure, Isaac. But I think it's interesting. I think it wouldn't surprise me if he reverts back to
type.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think
You
West
check
Ham
with
will
them.
pick up good wins, and I think they'll have unconvincing performances like Sunday.
Yeah, no, agreed. I mean, Everton's run of fixtures now. They got Brighton at home on Saturday. Crystal Palace away. I mean, Crystal Palace, they need to start picking up some games. Then they got Man United at home, and then Everton away. So you kind of got a run of sort of 4 or 5 Prem games where you'd back them right now. I mean, they got Burnley in the EFL Cup, but they don't care about that. Depending on what Brighton turns up on Saturday, there's no
You
Europe
never
this
know,
week.
do you?
Yeah, you never know. We'll put our second string for EFL.
Yeah.
But again, I can see them the way they're playing now. I can see them getting points against Palace. I can see them getting points against Man U, and I can see them beating Nottingham Forest. Depending on so by the end of this run of 4 games, and back to the kind of being third way through the season, you know, he's 3 points behind 10th. He takes points off Palace. We could be looking at an Everton team who are, you know, 10th, 11th, 12th.
Mid-table mix.
Yeah, which is a great turnaround. Absolutely great turnaround. From West Ham's point of view, I mean, their next few fixtures, they got Brentford away on Saturday. That's not the game they needed right now. They got Olympiacos in the Europa League next week at home. Then they got Forest at home. Okay. Then they got Burnley away. So they would expect to beat Forest and Burnley, surely.
Yeah. Be
And-
disappointed if they didn't get 6 points out of that.
Yeah, you're back on track. Then you got Then you got Palace at home again. Not the most straightforward game, but you expect a home win. So they, to your point, another top 8 finish, top 9 finish, maybe.
Yeah. Good for them.
All right. And I guess the last game now, Arsenal 5, Sheffield United 0. Eddie Nketiah with a home hat trick. Tomiyasu with the other goal. And who scored the other one?
Vieira.
Yes, the penalty. We love donating penalties to people. It's getting borderline unprofessional, mate, if you ask me.
If you're Eddie, do you take that? If you are Eddie,
you've got a hat trick. I'm good, mate.
They want 4?
No, you want 4, but I like the team spirit there. I've scored a hat trick. You have it. You've just had a kid as well. You know, all of that stuff. And as a footballer, those things are important, right? You can see how happy he was that he scored.
So you're saying Arsenal just hand out sympathy goals, yeah?
That one is more warranted than the Kai Havertz one. 1,000,000%. Because as I said at the time, he hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
He needs an open play goal, not penalty. Even if he bangs a free kick from outside the box, that will do wonders for his confidence. But penalty, you know, as Terrell said, it's like he's a pro. He does this thing, you know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's normal.
It's normal. So
yeah, I didn't see this, but was it just routine for you, man?
Yeah, it was a home game we were supposed to win. The lineup, Arteta did, you know, as I said earlier, he rotated a few players. So Saka started, obviously.
So you say rotated, Odegaard and Gabriel weren't dropped?
No, they were dropped.
No, so with the rotation or they dropped? Like,
I think they're one and the same. If I'm rotating and you get rotated and you don't, you got dropped. In my mind. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't rotate some players. Yeah. So Rice didn't get rotated. He played. Zinchenko didn't get rotated. So Havertz and Smith Rowe started. Obviously, Nketiah started. Jesus is out for some time.
They're saying till December.
Yeah. Gabriel was sat on the bench as well. Kivior started at the back. It was decent. But it's Sheffield United. We're at home. If we want to keep up this title challenge, these are the games you need to be beating and beating comfortably.
Yeah, and getting that goal difference up. Which
exactly.
you did, unfortunately.
Exactly. Nketiah's first goal was...
I liked it, man. I liked the first touch was good.
That first touch was tidy. But you need to be doing that. And I don't want to dampen his performance.
But you want to see it regularly.
You've clearly got it. Like,
peaks and troughs.
that fox in the box business, that goal epitomizes what everyone's been telling us he's got since he broke through. The second goal again, I don't know what the keeper's doing, man. Like, these teams, they don't help themselves. You know, we've talked about how many goalkeeping errors today. You know, this is going to be the third significant one this weekend.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was listening to, but whoever it was saying that keeper should be in League One. Like they're not having him at all.
If you see what they did for the corner,
Yeah.
following him, his name is crazy. But
Yeah.
again, good finish, lashed it in, top corner. So sometimes get a bit unlucky, bodies in the way, etc. And then last one outside of the box.
Yeah, had to go very
I
good.
didn't even know he had those. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Sorry,
First
Eddie.
goal outside the box he scored for you.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yes. Sorry, Eddie. I didn't know you had them, mate. So yeah, good, efficient win. And I'm glad we just kept a clean sheet, man, because again, sometimes we kind of let these silly goals
Sloppy
and whatnot.
goals, yeah.
I think it's good for Eddie. Looks like he's going to be in the team for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Good for him to get those goals on his belt, but now he's got to do it when he. Not that it doesn't matter against Sheffield United, but you got to do it when it matters. I can remember a few clutch moments in big games where we needed him to be clinical and he didn't do it. You know, last season, I think of some big games. One game he did, Man United. Yeah, he came up with the goods a couple of times now, but
Champions League games, etc.
Yeah,
He wanted to.
and I think that will be the differentiator between him and Jesus. I'll be honest. We could talk all day about how Jesus isn't super clinical. That can be his differentiating factor for me. I think Saka played well. Slightly different game from him. Ben White, it was just good all around. It was good to see Kivior get a run out as well. So yeah, and the Sheffield United just showed us for most of the game why they have 1 point. Like, and that foul on Vieira for the penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a red, but like you've lunged at a man, you lunged at the player with your studs from behind. He can't. There's no chance of getting the ball. He's totally gone. He can't see you, and you've put all your studs down the back of his Achilles. It's ridiculous. And he's there saying, "I didn't touch him. I didn't touch him."
Yeah, they always do that, innit?
It's just, it was shocking, and it was just frustration, I guess, from them. But yeah, I mean, they're going down. It's just a matter of when, not if. I think those guys, they're already cut adrift. So we'll see. So yeah, Arsenal march on. I think from a fixtures point of view,
Newcastle Saturday.
Yeah, Newcastle away Saturday. Oh, I don't like that fixture, you know. I don't like that fixture at all. But we'll be all right.
Just because Newcastle hit in form, but they're the games kind of.
You see them against Wolves. It wasn't imperious.
Yeah, but they haven't lost in a while.
Injured as well.
So, yeah, I think you should come out on.
Well, if we want to again, we got to beat them, right?
Yes, this is it.
Was that? Champions League against Sevilla at home next Wednesday. I think that'll be a very different proposition. 2 individual moments of brilliance, got us that win last week, but overall it wasn't.
But you got the result. Like,
yeah, we did. Then it's Brentford away. No, sorry. Then it's Burnley at home. So we'll see.
5-0.
Nah. Well, we need to talk about Burnley as well. Brentford, Arsenal. So we got Brentford away. There'll be another international break. Another one. Mid-November, and then it's Brentford away. So I think we got some winnable fixtures on the way, but it's just squad management with us.
Yeah.
See how everyone rotates in. Maybe, Kiwior and Smith Rowe have given a good enough account of themselves that they can start, starting some of these games.
Yeah. I think with essentially the top 5 teams, and I'm putting Villa in that, it's just maintaining position with those other 4 teams.
Yeah.
So I know Tottenham are top by 2 points, and there's only 4 points between Villa and Tottenham.
Yeah.
So all those teams will just want to kind of stay with get into Christmas and the New Year, just stay.
Well, we play Villa away on the 9th of December, Arsenal. Then it's Champions League. Then it's Brighton. Then it's Liverpool away. Then it's West Ham. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like even, I think on next Monday is Chelsea-Tottenham or Tottenham-Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if Chelsea had something about them, I'd be looking forward to this. But I can just see Tottenham going there and rolling them over. And I'm just like...
Another thing that's I got reminded of today is African Cup of Nations. and the Asia Cup.
And Pep is like, hold it, you man.
Well, this is it. Yeah.
I got no players going over there.
I don't buy players from those regions. I would suggest that's a deliberate strategy. But anyway, so you look at Spurs. That means they're gonna miss Son for 4 to 6 weeks. Basuma.
Son?
Asian Cup.
Oh, the Asia Cup as well.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Asian
I missed
Cup.
that. Sorry.
Yeah. You thought you caught me there, didn't you?
No.
Yeah, look at him.
Sorry.
So yeah, Son,
Basuma,
Sarr. You know, 3 key.
Important
I
players.
mean, who's scoring the goals? Richarlison?
See Spurs, yeah. I think Spurs now are where Liverpool were the season before we won the league.
Nah, you had more.
Where we had
depth. You more depth
we had a good 11, but outside of that, it was because that run to the Champions League final, we pretty much played the same team consistently. Like luckily we didn't get any injuries.
So you had
it was Milner, Wijnaldum, Henderson, and then it was
a front three: Mane, Salah, Firmino.
yeah, like they played pretty much every
So who was
game
the
after
bench
January.
who was the attacking options off the bench in that season?
Divock.
What's that? 2018-19?
Yeah, Origi.
Oh yeah. Yeah, fair enough. They haven't even got a Divock though.
Yeah, so I think
They haven't even got.
once they get a better squad,
Yeah.
they will be in and around and can challenge on more fronts. Like I think if they had European competition this year,
Yeah, finished.
they would struggle just in terms of rotation.
Because Origi contributed more to you guys than Richarlison has with these lot.
Yeah, and he started.
So yeah, that's interesting. So as much as I was shooting them a lot of bell to say no European football this season, etc., actually that's gonna be almost an equivalent test in a different way.
Mhm.
Because not having those key players for 4 to 6 weeks,
Yeah.
it's gonna be massive.
But to be
Absolutely
fair
massive.
though, they might not because I think when Salah went to the last one, he only ended up missing two Prem games.
Yeah.
I think because the FA Cup starts at the start of Jan, so that's one game.
Mm.
Doesn't really matter.
But it depends on what the
What's up?
teams do, right? As well. It depends how far they
Yeah,
go. Oh, well,
yeah,
Salah, did Salah get to the final? Last one.
Yeah,
Did
he
he
did.
lose to Mane?
Yeah, lost to Mane. Yeah, so
yeah.
it's not a lot of games they miss, but they could be important games.
No, but it's
I
not
don't
just
know.
league games, right? They want to do
Yeah.
well in the FA Cup as well.
Yeah.
And the form matters. So that all impacts. And just to go through the rest of the results. So just talking about Spurs, they beat Crystal Palace 2-1 away at Selhurst Park. Wolves Newcastle, that was a 2-2 draw with one of the most dubious penalties we've seen this season. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I don't know how they got
Absolutely
given.
ridiculous.
Like,
Have you seen that? Do you see the penalty? That Newcastle goal against Wolves.
Nah, I didn't see it.
yeah.
He's
Didn't
pulled
see it.
out, kind of going to clear the ball. You know when you're winding up to give it a big swing, and then you see a player coming.
And
So
he
he's
stopped.
pulled out and sort of kicked the ground.
But Shaw
And
saw
Shaw's
seen
seen
him.
and
and
just
kind
left
of-
his leg, let his leg hit him, and even the way he fell. If I've forgotten the gentleman's name.
Wow.
If he had kicked him, he wouldn't have. The way he's gone down, he would have
Yeah.
gone down the opposite way. But all these things, you got VAR, you're checking it, and they still gave it.
Yeah. I
It
couldn't
was
believe that,
absolutely
to be honest.
ridiculous. But he scored a fantastic goal. That goal.
Yeah. Even the guy
He
who
said to the
assisted
shot,
him.
"Burn, your favourite."
Yeah.
Have you seen the goal? How's that?
Yeah, bro.
He
Shot
said
and
that,
ran.
Burn to Lidl quickly. And then the finish was nice as well. I thought he got a
Yeah.
deflection, but it was just a good
Yeah.
finish. And you could see in him, he felt
Yeah, 'cause
really
he gave away the
responsible.
penalty.
Yeah. Felt really, really responsible. So yeah, I think another good result for Wolves. O'Neill after doing his doing the football equivalent of a LinkedIn post Monday Night Football last week. I think
I quite enjoyed that though. And like even after the game on Saturday, he was like, I wasn't giving away any trade secrets.
Yeah, I see
like
that.
every manager in the league would have
Mm.
known, blah blah. And I just spoke about a specific action against a specific team.
yeah.
So yeah, so a lot of people were saying he was kind of lauding himself, going, "Oh look,
Yeah,
look
I
how well
was
I done
gonna
against
say.
Bournemouth."
So
Well, he was like, "Well, no, like every manager does this. I was just showing you what I done in a specific instance for the team I was playing on that day."
So I enjoyed the insight. I just thought the way he was doing it was a little bit boasty. Just a little bit. And I kind of get there's a lot of emotion around it. He would have done a really great job at Bournemouth. He's always been quite expressive. We've seen that in his
Yeah,
post-match interviews, etc. It was just like, all right, bro, calm down. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is not your league winning formula here. Chill. But I don't know. I think the reaction to that might put off a few more managers from going on there because the Brentford manager went on there and did it before, but he wasn't as detailed.
Yeah, he wasn't game specific.
He just talked about some of his ideas and all that kind of good stuff. All right, and then Brighton drew 1-1 with Fulham. Any takeaways from that game? Anything on that?
Good goal by Polina.
Oh yeah, he should have been sent off to that elbow.
Yeah, 100% should have been sent
Again,
off.
VAR. Shocking. Silly goal for them to concede though.
Yeah.
They tried to play out from the back. The press beat them. I forgot Iwobi was there. I see him dancing between a couple of man. I was like, oh yeah. And then he strikes that goal. And then Bournemouth, Burnley, 2-1.
I'd Burnley down to win this, you know.
So did I. But again, keeper. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? I mean, for a long range lob, it wasn't even that clean. He still got a hand to it.
Yeah, he got a decent hand on it as well. Like he just couldn't
and
move it anywhere.
You know what people say? If you get a hand to it, should you have saved it? It's not like you got fingertips to it. You got a hand to it. But fair play to Billing, seeing it and executing.
I think Trafford just jumped too early.
Yeah.
Like if you take another step back, maybe because the ball was essentially on the way down.
Yeah.
When you got the hand to it.
Yeah.
But,
so and there was lots of talk that if he lost that game, the Bournemouth manager would have been gone. So he's given himself
rightly so, to be fair, because that was their first win of the season.
Yeah. I've got a gentleman's bet on that one with a friend of mine. Because we were having that whole argument, but like I said on here about them firing O'Neill, blah, 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 blah. So he's bet me that they won't get 40 points. So yeah, they've got 6 points at the moment, just 34 to go. Cheers. So yeah. Right, a couple of other points to discuss. We've already talked about the Ten Hag comments. I'm going to leave that Suarez or one for another time, actually. We need proper time to get into that. So a couple of things. We've got some people say Gundogan, some people say Gundogan, but Ilkay wasn't happy with his Barcelona teammates and their reaction to losing El Clasico. And I always find this one a funny one because there isn't one way to react. What your disappointment could be silence and contemplation. Yours could be smashing up the change room. Do you know what I mean? But he's come out and called out his teammates after El Clasico. I mean, it wasn't a drubbing. They didn't get thumped. They lost a last minute goal.
Yeah.
They lost. Well, Jude scored a wonder goal. So we'll talk about him in a second. And then they lost to a last minute tapping. It wasn't like they got demolished.
Brother, if I walk into the changing room after losing at El Clasico or a derby, and you're not pissed or silent, you're actually chatting about your plans for the evening. Well, there's gonna be words.
Nah, you can't tell me how to be. You can't tell me how to be disappointed.
Then we're not on the same page. We're not on the same page. Remember, you lot are talking. At one point, you lot were talking about our expectations and the biggest stage and da. But big man, this is one of the biggest games in the world. If we've lost like that, and I walk in the change room and I can't, and I'm looking at you like, bro, like you're not feeling some type of way about this. You're discussing plans. I'm just, obviously, I don't know what they were saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if I walk in the change room, you're discussing your evening plans.
Well,
like,
he said
man.
I think his words were, I expected them to be more angry.
Yeah, of course. I agree with him.
But if you look at this Barcelona lineup,
100%,
he's
big man.
like pretty much the most established,
Of course.
guy there.
The most decorated by far.
Yeah. And like he just come off the back of a treble.
Yeah.
So he's probably in an pep in it. Like he's in an environment where if it doesn't go your way, you're kind of upset and be like, why? Maybe dissecting it straight away kind of thing.
Maybe.
But like I think because of that particular fixture, I think that's why it's heightened a bit more in it. Like if it was just a regular game, you might have been like, okay, but you don't want to lose at home. And it's his first El Clasico, innit? So he's more like...
I was about to say, listen, mate, this is your first one. Pipe
so
down.
what? It doesn't matter. That's even more reason to be. You lot the homegrown should be pissed. You lot the Spanish players.
I won the league last season.
Nah, man. That's last season. This is new season. You're not, and you lot are not. Oh, I'm steaming. I agree with him. I'm steaming.
I think as long as he said it to them like in the dressing room before saying it on camera, I think it's calm in it. Like if you go out and say it on camera first, then I think there's a bit of an issue. Like why come out and say it there? Address it to your.
But
teammates,
even if you said it to your teammates and the general consensus is because I always imagine a situation. You know, you say in the change room, yeah, and the general everyone's like, "Well, you're talking rubbish." So you still feeling. So you got to say it to the press as well. You know, and also you got to think it's quite a young team as well. Is this the best way to address that? I'm not sure,
100%.
man.
100%.
I'm not sure.
100%.
I don't know what he gains from
it's
that.
the
saying
qualities
that
of a
publicly.
leader. That's what that is. It's the qualities of a leader. Come out and just question him straight up and down. Yeah, you're right.
I think it shows the standard that he wants to
Exactly.
set.
No,
Because he did say, like, he was like, we can't be letting teams like, well, not teams like, but he said we can't be letting Real Madrid and Girona get ahead of us and we just kind of be happy with that kind of performance that we just had. Like, we need to be winning these games and be in the mix, or these teams are just going to go ahead of us. And
I
we
get
can't
all
catch
of
them.
that. With a lot of this season, we talked about it before. It's
kind
where
of
you
stuff
say
that
it.
Man United need.
No, but it's where you say it.
Nah, man.
Yeah, well, like I said, if he said it beforehand, I've got no problem with him saying it publicly.
Everyone's got chat in public, man. And then interesting comments from Amin Harit. Hopefully I've said that correctly. He's Marseille player.
Mhm.
Marseille player. And I quote, Ronaldo ran, but was not an extraordinary athlete. Zidane too. These kinds of players will unfortunately disappear. Today we are asked to run 12 kilometers per match, 40 high-intensity sprints to reach 33, 34 kilometers an hour. Otherwise, you have no use. You can have 4 good matches, but if you don't produce statistics, you're not respected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've talked about this, if not on here, but we've talked about it amongst ourselves a few times. You know, as the game grows, are we using statistics to sanitize or standardize the players? Are we taking some of the character and personality out?
Oh yeah, 100%. But that's because the game's changed like massively
Sports science has killed the game.
over the last 10 or 15 years. Like, even like it started with the high press. Like, it was very rare you would expect your striker to be chasing down and pressing goalkeepers and defenders with the ball, and then that impacts the whole team. Like, the whole defending from the front, that's like, it's been taken to like another level in the last kind of 3 or 4 seasons. In terms of what he's saying about those type of players, I mean, because the game has changed, those type of players don't get the freedom to express themselves. Where
It's coached out of them.
yeah, which is unfortunate.
It's all about the system.
It's even
all
going
about
back
the
to like the
system.
winger debate we had last week with Doku. Like, you're not getting those explosive wingers anymore because they're not really what coaches want. Because coaches see a formula that's worked, and they all try, like, especially at the youth level, they try and adapt it and be like, oh well, it's worked there. Let's try and implement it here. So yeah, it's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, and I guess I don't want to let it on his door, but the first kind of player I think of in that vein is kind of Cristiano. You know, it was all about the numbers. He was super analytical about his game. Was kind of like, sort of the footballer's athlete almost, right? In an era where there were Rooney's and and those who were, you know, sort of weren't so as what's the word I could use?
But he
Surgical
didn't
about
start
that.
like that, though. He didn't start like that.
He didn't start like that.
At Sporting, in his first season at United, he was not that numbers guy. He was the flair, you know, typical, I want to show you what I can do.
Yeah.
You're old school footballer, right? And then all of a sudden that changed and boom, it was all about numbers, goal scoring. It was all about putting that ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is just...
And I feel like the whole data and statistics thing, I mean, you see it in American sport, right? That American sport is, there's a stat for everything. Literally.
Yeah.
Everything. And to the point where it's so important now, you know, it features heavily in contract negotiations. It features heavily in people kind of justifying their worth and their place in the game. And I think we're going in that way. I mean, teams' data analytics departments have got larger and larger. You know, you talk about people that do all the sort of player tracking in training and all that kind of stuff, which on the face of it is fine. But I do think there's a limit, and we're gonna reach a point. I mean, we've got expected XG is one that's become very popular over the last few years. We've got expected assists now. We've got field till. We've got all of this, and I just think it's kind of data being industrialized. I think it's just becoming an industry, and like anything, if people feel like they can sell value to someone, they'll try.
Yeah, it's like I said in the group, it's like stats v eye test. Like I was having a conversation with someone about best players in positions in the league so far, and this person was like, "Well, Vicario, the Tottenham goalkeeper, statistically he's the best goalkeeper in the league this year." And I was like, "Okay, statistically he might be, but if you look at the saves that Alisson has made, they're more difficult."
It would be Alisson, isn't it?
Well, no, because he's a good goalkeeper. The saves that Alisson has made, they've been technically more difficult than what Vicario has made. And that's for me why he's been the better goalkeeper so far. So it's like, on your stats base, you're like, right, you're going to go for Vicario because his save percentage is higher, but the chances that the saves that Alisson have made from harder opportunities. So it's like the eye test v stats in it. What do you go for?
Yeah.
And in terms of outfield players, like who was the last really exciting outfield player?
Mbappe.
Like it's been there's
Matoma.
No, but Matoma's like a little tricky. Like he's not.
What? But that's in the vein of what we're.
Yeah.
That's exactly in the vein of.
You got
a player that's a playmaker.
Yeah.
We're playmakers. We're losing playmakers, essentially.
Yeah.
We're losing players that have the ability to change the game, or have that character. I think it was Raquelme that touched on it as well. You look at the days when you had players like Raquelme, even David Silva or Okocha, or, all these names, Luis Figo on the wings, all these names of all these players that were just game changers, playmakers. I don't think we're going to see another Ronaldinho. I don't think we're going to see another Okocha or of the likes.
Is there an argument that this is just nostalgia? Because
no, the game's changed.
There's always an evolution in football, right? So, there wasn't, every generation has their sort of style of players. We got rid of the Souness's and those guys who just came out to break legs every week, but
you still had,
there's always
George Best,
Maradona,
Pele, the whole Brazilian team, Jairzinho.
And then, man.
But Ronaldinho was very different to any of those guys.
No, but they were like, again, playmakers, mavericks within an era. So I get what you're saying. You had the Souness, the Chopper Harris, the man there, that would come and kick man down, but you still had your flair players.
I think there'll just be less flair players in it, and I think we'll appreciate them more as and when they come.
I think it'll just take a different form. So you have to be able to put those numbers. You have to be able to do those sprints. But
and then
we
do
just
flair. And then still do flair.
Well, Mahrez was doing it.
Yeah.
Firmino
done it a little bit as well.
Yeah, Mahrez was still doing it.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So I think it will take different form. And someone said to me there'll be less of them, and I was like, you know what? If we look at the elite level, there weren't that many. We talk about the same 15, 20 players.
If you look, and that's true, but if you also look at when Neymar initially was going to come over to Europe, and I think they say Pele stepped in and said, don't go just yet because you will lose the style that they play over there. You will lose your Brazilian flair. So I think he stayed at Santos, another season and a half?
Yeah.
And then eventually went to Barcelona.
Yeah.
So it's not new. I mean,
but all the people I'm talking about, they play out on the wing. So yeah, you're right. It was nice to see someone who's got the license to do some of that stuff in the middle of the park.
A lot of teams now play with 2 8s.
Yeah.
They play with 2 8s in the middle.
Yeah.
They don't have that person that's. Do you remember at Barcelona it was a 6, an 8, and a 10. So it was Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta.
Yeah.
Iniesta was more the playmaker.
Yeah.
Right? I think they've kind of phased that out now, and you get 2 8s. So you get 2 at Liverpool, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch.
Got the legs in it.
Exactly. They want the people with the legs. Whereas City, they had Yaya and Silva for a point. Right? And Silva's gone. Who've they replaced him with? They haven't. they might put Foden in there every now and again, but really what you're seeing is, last season it was Gundogan and De Bruyne.
Yeah.
2 8s.
So the flair now is a Madison, Odegaard, in the centre anyway. That's the flair now.
So
Yeah,
a
pretty
more
much.
creative 8.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you had Ronaldinho running
It's
rampage
not,
through the
it's
centre.
less flicks and tricks, but more accuracy and
And almost
like
playing
vision.
forward is almost a flair
Yeah.
thing now.
Yeah. Or like a keyhole pass. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the flair now.
Interesting. But I think I take his wider point though. I think his point is, the lens at which players are filtered through now is more about just running, athleticism, sprinting, all
and even
that kind
like
of stuff.
fans in general, they're like stats, numbers
Yeah.
when it suits them. But
Yeah, of course. All right. I think that's us for another week, another episode.
Hold on. Got to talk about the GOAT getting his
Oh yes, of course.
getting his 8th Ballon d'Or award tonight.
Well, we talked about this. We talked about this before, and on here in the previous episode about actually, if we think about the Ballon d'Or in its essence, when someone's broken the records, Haaland's broken, he should kind of be front and center for the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
However, what I learned today is that they did say before the World Cup that the World Cup was going to be taken into account for the voting. They did say that before.
Okay, fair enough.
Apparently. Via my source is Gary Lineker. So I don't know where he goes in from, whether that's publicly.
Yeah. I think if the World Cup didn't happen, Haaland sweeps it.
Yeah. Do you think they give him a Ballon d'Or this age? Do you think there's a little bit of, nah, it's too early? Do you think they still would have given it to him?
Nah, he would have had to.
He could have got it, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There would have been no one else. But
How old was Ronaldo when he got his? He was like under 21.
Yeah, fair.
yeah. But
How old was Owen when he got his?
20.
Yeah, mad.
Yeah. But for what Messi done. Like, I know I still slightly think Haaland should have got it. But
Nah, it's Messi.
for what Messi done, carrying the team to the World Cup,
Crazy.
won the league.
And he came up with clutch moments in the World Cup as well. That's the thing. That's the thing.
All throughout, innit?
Yeah, so had to be him. It's the only way. And I guess the kicker, it gives him the record, right?
Yeah, 8.
And
Ronaldo is not can't catch him. Never gonna catch him.
Well, in the voting, he was 800 and something, wasn't he?
Oh, really?
I saw something. He was super low. Everyone was like, "Wow, what's going on there?"
But it's fitting for him, man. Like leaving Europe, going to MLS, getting the Ballon d'Or. Like, I think his season's over now, isn't he?
Yeah.
People are saying, he should go on loan to Barcelona. And I was like, he hasn't stopped playing since August
Last year?
2022.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because he
true.
started the season, World Cup, finished the season, went straight to MLS. Only finished like last week or the week before. That's like 15 months of straight football.
Ronaldo was 21.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and as you say, I think there's a lot of sentiment in this voting as well. As you say, he left Europe. We're seeing the latter days of his club career now. Let's see if he plays a full season in MLS next season, right? We'll see. But I have no problem with it. I think for what he's done and what he did at World Cup, and his PSG season wasn't the worst.
Yeah,
wasn't the worst. He put up good numbers,
goals and assists, didn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, all hail the GOAT. All hail the GOAT. I don't want to hear it now. He's got a World Cup. His record Ballon d'Ors and that. All the CR7 stands. I don't want to hear it.
Best player ever.
Agreed.
We're lucky to witness it.
All right. Thanks for listening. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll be back next week.
Peace.
Peace.